Hello and welcome to Poker Night Live, where for the next 4 hours, we're going to be taking you through the variety of online Texas Hold'em games just to show you a little bit about the structure of the game and also hopefully shed some light on the theory behind playing winning Texas Hold'em poker. I'm Kara Scott, and beside me, this very handsome man, is our expert for the evening, Matt Broughton.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, with an intro like that, it's a good show already.
It started well. So you ready for all the questions coming your way?
Yep, hopefully a busy night tonight, so yeah, hope it'll be a good one.
I think it will, and it's a live and interactive show. That means that our discussion is pretty much led by what you want to hear. So if there's a poker topic burning in your brain or you need a question about strategy answered, you can let us know a couple of ways. And the first way is to text us here in the studio. Text the word poker and your question to 84222. Or if you need a bit more space to give a more thorough, in-depth look at your question, you can email us. Email the expert at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And of course, any other questions, anything you need to know, take a look at our website, www.pokernightlive.co.uk. And that's how it works, and we are going to be taking a look at a few different games. So should we have a look around the tables, do you think?
Let us do that right now.
Let's do that.
Okay, this first table tonight, this is one of our sit and go tournaments. This is a $2 sit and go that's only just got started by the look of it, so we'll be back here soon. We have another sit and go here. This is a $5 sit and go. We've already lost somebody there, and that's a few hands in, but we'll come back to that. We have yet another sit and go coming up for you. We will have some cash games a bit later on, but right now this is our $10 sit and go again. Only just got started by the look of the chips. And everyone there starts with 2,000 in case you're wondering what's going on with the chip count. And then, of course, it's our green table of joy. It's our multi-table tournament, 100 players tonight, and we'll be coming back and forth from this table as the night goes on, and we'll give you some details in a short while.
Fantastic. And at the end of that MTT, we'll be seeing some very interesting heads-up play. And now that brings me to the topic, to the theme for the evening. Now, this is something that I personally feel quite strongly about. I was playing on one of the TV tables from home the other night while you were presenting with Lindsay, I believe.
Yes,
I think
that's
so.
right, yep.
And they actually showed my heads-up game. I came second in a tournament, and they showed it, and you just slagged off my heads-up play. No, you did. But you did deservedly so, because seriously, it's the third time I'd ever played heads-up, and I was rubbish. I'm playing again later today, so I don't want to give away any of my rubbishness. But we all know this is the truth. Heads up play, I really don't know how to do it. So I would like from you, the viewers, and from you as well, Matt, some principles on how to play well. What are the decisive, what was the word you used earlier?
I don't know. I don't think I was really listening to you. I was just mostly talking.
You weren't listening to yourself
you know, what we're looking for is what we consider the key principles behind successful heads-up, because we always highlight it as being a very different game to playing against 10 or playing against 8 or, you know, short-handed games. But heads-up, everybody starts a game with 10 players, but not everybody gets down to heads-up. So we want to know, what do you consider to be the key defining principles behind successful heads-up? And we're going to compile a little list.
Yes.
And then see who gives us the best stuff. And I believe you were suggesting if we get a really decent list together, we'll put it up on the forums and let you pick it apart there.
I think that's a great idea. So you at home, send me what you think I need to know, both as a beginning player or even just generally heads-up play, good heads-up play. And this is how you can let us know here in the studio. Text us 84222, but put the word poker first. Or you can send us that email, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. I've been reading a lot of articles on this topic lately as well, and it does say that a lot of people are suggesting that heads-up Texas Hold'em is probably going to be the next big thing for Texas Hold'em or for poker in general, because a lot of people are getting into it. There's a lot more heads-up tournaments online as well as live stuff. So it's an important thing, maybe one that I shouldn't be as a poker player disregarding and not practicing, because if you know, I don't want to just learn how to do it when I get there. Because that doesn't work. I figured that out. Anyway, so there you go.
You figured it out by losing.
I did.
Toast rack.
Yes, toast rack lost, but she came in second. Thank you very much. And later that night, I did come in first in a tournament.
Just no one was there to see.
I know,
it
was
very convenient.
I'm sure it's on the site somewhere. I did. I came from 80 chips to come first in a tournament.
I believe you.
I'm sure 2 or 3 people saw it. If you're out there and you saw it, could you, email me? No!
Okay.
Right. From that, let's go to a $10 sit and go.
Let's do that now.
Let's do that.
No, I do believe you.
You don't. It's all over your face.
And I enjoyed your nickname, Toast Rack.
Thanks, the viewers chose that for me.
Oh, really?
They did.
Yeah, we had a huge amount of hilarious anagram chuckles all night long.
Did
thanks
ya?
to your toast. Yeah, I can't remember. Lindsay was really suddenly taken with, I want my own anagram nickname.
Ah.
And I can't remember, she ended up being something quite strange, like Derek Lyons, or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't quite the stunner she was looking for.
That's so funny.
And I was something to do with hot gammon, but I can't remember. Anyway, so here we are. Let's just mention the poker as we pass through.
You big ham. You hot gammon.
Big ham. El Puercos. So we are on a $10 sit and go. Everybody starts with 2,000 because you will typically find the more you're paying, then the deeper game you will get. So none of this $1,000 bang, bang, bang. 2,000 in chips. Blind start 10-20. Other than that, it's, as you know, it's round the table. Dealer button shown by the D. Small blind next to that. Big blind follows from that in that first round of betting to get the action going. And everyone must decide to call the bet in front of them, fold or raise it up. And this is a freeze out. So you pay your $10, you get your 2,000 chips. And once all your chips are gone, it's hat and coat time. Of course, being the internet, you just get the lobby up, find another game and get involved.
Yeah, no hat, no coat necessary.
No hat, no coat necessarily.
No.
You're probably just in your pants and socks anyway, so...
That's an
no
image
need.
I don't need.
Pizza balancing on your stomach.
Oh, wow. Just hundreds of them out there doing that. And see, you know what? When we actually get to meet some of our viewers, some of our regulars at the Poker Bowl, we'll be able to actually picture that in more detail.
That's not going to be a good thing.
More accurately.
So here we go. Well, Gan flopped about as juicy as you can get. Two pair, aces and queens. The flush possibility coming down with that third club on the turn made him take evasive action. Get some chips in there to stop it being cheap enough for anybody to draw. And now it's his opposing tablemate Skinner 1977's turn to pick up a big hand. One of the premium hands, suited ace-king, and on the button. Pretty big bet for a 10-20 blind situation. Surprised he made it quite that scary, because really you'd probably fancy getting a bit of action.
Yeah, I was chatting with some of our regulars actually right before the show, and Gan being one of them as well, and Aunt Sally, and watching some of their games. Some really good heads-up action, actually, between Gan and Angel something.
Yeah.
Really quite interesting, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he does if he gets down to heads-up in this as well.
Yeah, pretty much a table full of our regular attendees. Hoofy, Aunt Sally, Johan, Dutch Giza, Rold. As you know, this is to the death. The top three will get paid here, 50%, 30% and 20%. Very popular right now. These sit and goes are pretty much, I don't know, got to be a huge percentage of the online games you find, any site you go to. And with a lot of these deeper stacked tournaments, whereas most of the tables we watch are every 10 hands the blinds go up. I believe here we are on a 12-minute timer. So it can take a bit of getting used to. You don't realise you have a bit longer to react to everything. It's a bit like watching guys that go to these big tournaments where they qualified online. They're all in the first hour, not realising they've got 90-minute blind levels. The real world isn't quite as fast as the internet. But he is old with a decent ace, jack suited, decides early position to make a raise. Everyone being awfully tight and just giving it up. First sign of any raise.
He raised 4 times the big blind. Oh no, we've just seen the blinds go up.
Yep, the blinds have just jumped to 2040.
There we go.
I say it must have just been going for a little while. I think when we joined it, just a few chips had shuffled around between players.
Ah, yes.
But nothing too exciting. So Chamonade there, kind of doing what a lot of people would do with a medium pair, which is try and limp in, pretty much just crossing your fingers, hoping to make a set. In light of this bet, it's very, very easy to give this up, because to call it, you're really just waiting for one of the 2 cards that could possibly come down, and that's just not good enough. It ain't worth sticking around for only 2 cards.
No, the odds of that happening are not so good, as you say.
And I don't remember, but there's a good chance that, you know, as it's still a full table, what if one of your sixes was in the hands that were dealt out to the other guys? Then
oh yeah,
sitting there paying money to see one card come through.
Ouch. And there we go, King Queen unsuited for dodgy geezer.
Well, that's a nice big.
Ooh.
Well, that's kind of a standard reaction to a lot of people. When people try and limp in on the small blind, it's an area of leak, an area of leakage, where people feel that because they're in the small blind, well, I mean, as it stands, dodgy geezer's actually got himself a decent playable hand, but because he just limped in, Earl can just think this guy's got any old rags.
Yeah.
He's limped in, and almost regardless of the fact that he's got 4-7. Suited, which is really not a hugely exciting hand. He's really made the raise, and this is, I mean, this is gutsy play, because this is really Earl having made that move to try and see if dodgy was stealing into a hand for cheap, and then just constantly backing up one bullet after the next. Bluff you on the pre-flop, bluff you on the flop. I ain't stopping, even though there's an ace and a queen down, one of which dodgy had hit.
Yeah.
And I guess they're the only mistake. I mean, had dodgy called that, Old's, in a world of trouble. But I guess because Old had seen dodgy just limp in on the button, from the small blind, rather than try and make a raise up, the last thing he's expecting dodgy to have is a queen or an ace.
Right.
So.
That's gonna hurt when he watches the feed later in a few minutes.
Yeah. Well, for Old, he's going to be thinking, oh my God, thank God that guy didn't call, because he had me absolutely ruined me my 4-7.
Ouch.
And that was all about the player having just decided that he knew where he was in the hand, which is a little bit ignorant of the information he was getting. Because having made that, if dodgy thinks that I've been caught, imagine that dodgy had nothing and he was just trying to limp in on the small blind, is that if Old comes back at him and dodgy thinks that I've been caught here, maybe he calls just to throw out a mixed message, and also he's kind of maybe hoping, if I did hit something, wouldn't it be lovely? But forgetting that we saw what dodgy had, if Old would just decided this guy's on the still, just keep throwing chips at him. And it's one of those things where we don't often see people slow playing hands, as Chamonix picks up a rather handy little... he's got himself not only a straight, but a straight flush draw. That doesn't come along. Yeah, it's very dangerous, because Old had decided dodgy had nothing, but the fact that every time Old still bet out, dodgy still called, you start thinking, well, maybe this guy wasn't just playing around when he called my pre-flop raise. Maybe he does have something, but Old just kept betting and betting and betting and betting.
That was really gutsy play.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be dodgy having just watched that back and thinking, that's what you had.
Yeah.
Oh.
And strange from dodgy there. I'm trying to wonder why he would do that, unless it was meant to be a trap. Maybe he thinks I limp in, we see the flop. If I hit part of it, the last thing the guy will put me on. Very curious to see Old come back over the top of him, especially as we saw he had 4-7 offsuit, which you won't find very high in the rankings.
No, not so much.
Sadly, but as we said, this is this is a different tournament to the 95% of the tournaments we watch. You start with 2,000, not 1,000. You've got 12 minutes rather than 10 hands. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys adapt to that, because that's not normally the games we watch them playing.
True.
Nobody wants to throw too many chips away too early, but at 2040, you've got plenty of play in this. So I would expect to see the people in later position around the table maybe trying to limp into more speculative hands.
Right. What would you limp in with then, if you were in later position?
To be honest, quite often I just limp in with anything.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Is my basic rule is I want to be very late position. If no one's raising up, I mean I don't really mean nothing, but something far more substandard than I'd normally select. But to be honest, as you're almost quite honestly saying, if you're going to let me in, I've got $2,000 in chips. If you're going to let me in for 20, let me in for 40. I call with Queen 3 offsuit. If I hit a piece of it, I'll then see where I feel I am. I make a bet, see if I get any sort of reply. Because knowing that most of the time you don't hit the flop. Most people that play any random hand are not going to hit that flop. But the beauty of, and that's why we always advocate betting to find out where you are. Nice move from Hoofy on the button there, takes that down with 7s. Because if people are daft enough to let you limp in, when the flop comes down, nobody knows where anybody is. Unless you happen to be holding a decent hand. Why didn't you raise? You've hit a decent hand and you've hit a part of it. You still can't really know where you are. So I'll only do that early in the tournament, just because if I'm not getting, if the cold's a bit, you know, the deck's a bit cold and I'm just sort of picking up 7-5 there, I'll get in for cheap and see if any of it turns into a hand that's then playable kind of post-flop.
Right.
Because most of this stuff's never playable pre-flop.
Yeah. So a face card with anything, or suited connectors, even if they're small.
Something, well, like, you know, in that sort of situation, things like 5-6 suited become entirely playable.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of options. You can hit a part of it if you have a very low flop. It's almost a case of the fact that you've been able to limp in. If an ace comes down, unless you think you're being slow played, you can treat it as a blank. Because anyone holding an ace probably would have at least made some sort of move.
Okay, well that's interesting, because I've always kind of wondered when when a lot of the commentators say limping in, you know, in late position, what exactly do you limp in with? This is something I've decided I want specifics.
I think you're going to find everyone has a different sort of style. I mean, this is a conversation, and also people go through different stages as well. When I first used to play, this was early stage of the tournament, very, very tight. Yeah. Just hoping other people were going to knock themselves out, and just hoping that I get a hand in a minute and I get some action. But of course, you realise that the more the internet, specifically when you go from playing live to internet poker, you don't have that much time. Yeah. If you are playing in a European event and there's 90 minutes per blind, I can afford to sit and wait for a hand. But where the blinds are going up every sort of 10 hands, and
you don't have that option.
And even if people are getting knocked out, well, that means that chips are being accumulated by other players. Yeah. And when I come to actually fight these guys, they're all going to have me covered. So I think it's perhaps part of playing online. You do need to just be looking for cheeky opportunities, whether they're genuine or you make them for yourself, like we saw old there with his Sim4, just literally using pure aggression to win. Sometimes you can just use pure sneakiness to limp in, get lucky, and see if you can turn it into a profitable situation.
Okay, well, if you have any thoughts about that, or indeed the end game, the heads-up question that I posed earlier, let us know here in the studio. You can text us or email us, and the text number is 84222. Text the word poker first, please, and then your question or comment, or send us an email, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Okay, let's take a look back there at the game, see how they're getting on.
Yeah, it is nice also to have a game that we know is going to last a bit longer, you know, because you can learn a bit more about how people go about accumulating their chips, and that is important, because that's obviously a lot of people watch the show to try and find out how should I be following these guys. So it's nice to see everybody with a few more chips, because that's one of the big criticisms for, in inverted commas, like serious poker players. Right. With these kind of quick fire sit and goes, they're excellent. They serve a purpose if you just want to jump online and play a game and you don't want to wait because the next tournament's in like 45 minutes. Right. Sit down, tables full, we're off. But they do tend to be pretty aggressive. And it's the same live. I was very excited on the last time I went out to Vegas, and the hotel opposite me, the Aladdin, started doing lots of sit and goes. And I was like, brilliant. But then you realise the blinds are every 15 minutes, you get 1,000 in chips. And actually, by the time 45 minutes have gone past, it's mental, because to be honest, to make a raise, you're pretty much all in. Right, yeah. So you can't afford to do what we've just discussed. You can't sit back and wait for a hand, because that also suggests, well, there's again putting down ace-king there in the small blind in face of Aunt Sally's big raise. Because that also relies on you actually, one, continuing to have that winning hand, and two, finding anyone that wants to play against you. And we saw the other night, actually, we saw a few quads come round, and we're all, you know, setting off fireworks and releasing doves from cages. But of course, on both occasions, no one else had a hand. Yeah. And they just folded. And, you know, you see people with monstrous hands just picking up the blinds. And that's the point, is that, you know, you need that perfect mixture of having a hand, investing in the pot, hitting the flop, finding callers. Because other than that, you're really relying on maniacs that will call with far weaker hands. Yeah. And we know that people are getting too smart. People are picking up a good education about this now. Much tighter in their starting standards, and more willing to put down even a almost good hand if it looks like there's someone out there with a better one. You still find, you know, putting something together today about calling stations, and you know, that's, if there's going to be somebody you know is going to call you down, whatever you do, then you've got to change the way in which you play. But most of the time, you're not going to get chips for free that often. No. We'll see a few brave guys like Old Hill. You know, we'll see people pick up pots that they really have no right to be involved in. This is interesting here. Dodgy. I'm going to make a guess that that is in reaction to his position on the table, the fact that he's got Earl to his left.
Yeah.
Wow, that's not the worst turn in the world. That somehow takes the danger out of the river for a dodgy geezer. But, you know, it is tricky when we talk about position on the table. We talk about where you are in the sequence to act and the strength of that. But also, position on the table also refers to who's around you.
Right.
And I guess Dodgy realises that making moves like 4 times the blind, 5 times the blind, it's not going to affect Old. It's going to be an all or nothing. If Old wants to play, he's going to play. So if you want to make a move, it's really got to be the big move.
And he doubled through there, Dodgy Geezer, so...
Yeah, absolutely. So it's, you know, to get the call, it's good for him because I think he's just sussed out the only way I get Old out of a pot. You know, if you're somebody that's got a hand like Queen King, you know, you're happy to fight somebody heads up maybe, but you don't really want to have a 3-way, 4-way pot with something like that. It's so easily beatable.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of people say that if you've got more than 10 times a big blind, going all in is something that you want to do. You don't want to do, too early in a tournament because you really do only have one tournament life to live. So to be a bit more careful with that. James was saying it's like the Grand National. It's like setting yourself yet another fence to jump if you keep going all in. But if you think about your position on the table and who is next to you, these are things you have to take into account, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess the thing is we always say as well, you need to decide what the purpose of your bet is. You know, and I've said this a number of times, you know, if people talk about bluffing, you know, your bluffs have to be misleading rather than just kind of completely bewildering.
Right.
And in that instance, if Dodgy is like, I just want to double up, I think this hand's good enough, to a certain degree, if everyone folded and I picked up the blinds, that would be okay as well. And that all-in move, that's the only problem is you find somebody with ace-6 who thinks, nah, sod it, I'll call. Yeah. Bang, you're out of a tournament. And I played a tournament the other day. I had pocket jacks. I'm trying to remember what the amounts were now. I know what it was. It was 8,000 was the big blind, and I made it 32,000 to go. And a guy with King 3 called me. And I'm thinking, wow.
Wow.
But that's the thing is you'll find people that think any king, any ace, I'll have a go. And of course, sorry, and then the end of that, and then the guy hits, and you go, well, welcome to poker, good luck to you. But you think, God, if I can't scare people off King 3 offsuit with that size of bet, and that's again the reason I'm saying that is to bring it around to Dodgy Geezer. I think maybe Dodgy Geezer is thinking on any other table, I make it 4 or 5 times the big blind, it will do the job. Yeah. So again, why am I betting? Am I betting because I think I'm going to win this? I've got aces. Why am I betting? To get a bit more money in the pot before I kill everybody. Whereas with King Queen, it's like, what's the bet there to do? Probably to isolate, to get rid of a few of these kind of guys still sitting holding a hand. And he's just worked out that with Earl to his left, it's actually going to take something far more powerful than 3 times a big blind to do that. Yeah, absolutely. Amarillo Slim said, poker is a game of people. It's not the hand I hold, it's the people that I play with. Look at you. There you go. That's my quote for this hour. Oh, have you got one set up? Oh, yes. Do you know his real name? I don't. No, I can't. No. Okay. No, I only said that because the other day I was watching a tape of or a digital recording, whatever one refers to it these days as. Again, there's Emerald still, and not a lot of people know his real name, and then they said it, and I went, that's interesting, and then instantly forgot it. If anybody would like to remind me of Emerald Slim's real name, please do get in touch with us. Oh, yes, he's got lots of great quotations. Well, he's had about 60 years to come up with lots. I suppose so, and people have been writing them down. See, I say lots of pearls of wisdom, nobody writes them down. They're lost to the winds, the 4 winds. I'll bring in my dictaphone next time, just in case. Great idea. Pearls of wisdom. Ooh, ace-7. That's a... Well, that's, you know, and there's Dodgy. He's in the big blind. The big blinds are already up to 81.60, which makes me think that we're wrong that this is a 12-minute tournament. But I could be wrong. Time flies when you're the driver of a train. Dodgy has decided that this is fine for him. Wow. Hoofy makes a move. And that could be a reaction to the belief that Hoofy is making a move on the blind because he's stealing. Yeah. Or he thinks that, do you know, even if Hoofy's got a hand, 16 to 1, that he's got a pair and I've already got a pair, so if you want to fight, it's a race, it's a coin flip, etc., etc. Had Hoofy called that, he's not in the worst shape in the world. Is, you know, his A7 versus a made pair of 6s. And the thing is, for the 6s, you're really... That's a scary move I wouldn't make. You've got a 96% chance of seeing overcards come down on the flop. So
Yeah.
you get called by people, you get called with somebody with a king 3.
Yeah.
King's going to come, the ace 7, either of those instantly ruins Dodgy's hand. It's not like, you know, he's got the middle part of the action.
Yeah.
But, and interesting, the thing that actually I never pay attention to enough here is that we're seeing everything.
Yeah.
But of course, what we don't get is a feel for how many of these actually come down to a showdown where people get to see their cards.
Yes.
It's very easy to lose track. And what we also aren't privy to is, you know, on most online sites, unless you've selected the option that says always fold. When I win, I don't want to show the cards.
Yeah.
If I'm bust, I want to muck them. Is that obviously these guys also, they have the option to show their winning hands. So we don't know what their vibe about each other are, because their Hoofy makes a move, is on the button, he's got an ace, Dodgy goes bang, and you think, hang on a minute, well from these guys' point of view, Dodgy's being quite active. So he's probably not a player that you want to...
But do they see what he's actually holding? You're right, because that would make a big difference to how they treat him.
I mean, I'm sure, again, as you raise a point, you know, Old comes to look back at us and goes, oh my God, that guy had Queen King? And I was like raising into him and he called, and then I raised and he called, and he hit the Queen, and I raised and he still called. So it's like a lot of the pros that talk about, you know, the fact there's so much televised poker now, their game has to change because everyone gets to see how they play. Luckily, they're now, you know, they're so rich from sponsorships and endorsements, they don't really care too much. But these guys have got a different problem.
It is difficult. James set me a target the last time I was playing on Beat the Presenter with him to take notes on the different people I was playing against. But I think that is true. It's difficult for me to take notes if I don't see what their cards were. I can say, you know, they came over the top of someone or whatnot, but I don't know what they had. Was it a bluff, a semi-bluff, or, you know, was it a made hand? I have no idea.
Yeah, the truth is, and it is I mean, I say this a lot myself. I always carry a book with me for live games. I always make notes online. Is all you can do is focus on one person, particularly for a period of time. Get a feel, because you're right, a lot of the time the hand concludes and you never saw what they had. But there will be times when you see it. Or you know, you'll get a feel, he makes a move, you know, in first position, he triples the blind, and what comes of this? And, you know, and when you do get to see a hand, you just have to make a note. And that's actually when I first started making notes online. All I used to do was any cards I saw, I make a note of by that player. Just to get a feel for what sort of cards does he play. Wasn't detailed, it wasn't about what position they were in. And very quickly I would sit down at a table, it's, you know, early in the morning, I turn on, a guy at my table, I see the icon that says I got notes on him. I open it, all it shows me is ace, queen, ace, jack suited, queens. Okay, I'm going to say this guy is not somebody who, when he gets involved, is going to be playing junk. Whereas you've got other guys that, and obviously, I mean, that's in the long run, that's not enough information because it doesn't tell me anything, unless I remember. It doesn't tell me. Well, he always does that on the blind. He always does this.
But you're right, though, as a start for someone like me, who all of that information is a bit much for me to take in all at once. But if I'm watching what cards they're actually playing, that's a nice way to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, you know, it's just because it sounds like such a stupid thing, but you sit down at a table, you find, it's a bit like Earl, we take Earl and Dodgy Geezer there. If Dodgy Geezer has got all these notes on Earl, I'd be amazed if he does, that says Earl plays premium cards. When Old makes all those moves, you think, well, this isn't a guy that plays junk. I mean, now I'm going to make a huge note that Old plays 7-4 like it's aces. But it's not the worst place to start when you come to make notes.
Yeah.
You're just going to feel for because I'm sure, you know, and there's lots of far more advanced kind of poker tracking software that you know, you put all of your hands into sort of thing. But, and I see hands that I overplay. I see how often I play this hand and it doesn't work out for me as a profitable hand. Do you think somebody else has probably come to that same conclusion as well, because they're seeing all the same hand history as me? They can pick apart what they've learnt about me. So it's good stuff. And Hoofy, ace jack, a hand that you're more than happy to win there and then. And you see the different pace of these guys with this starting with 2000 does make a huge difference, because we're here at 163.20.
Full table.
It's a full table, and no one. Everyone's starting to get a little bit mental, but no one to this point, it's not like what we usually see, which is kind of within every other hand, there's some kind of crazy stuff going on. Johan 3-6, you know what? That to me must have been him on the button trying to steal the blinds, because the blinds represent 480s worth of chips.
And he had, what, 1,600, I think, left?
Yeah, and that's plenty of play. on another day, he doesn't run into somebody holding ace-jack. He runs in somebody with jack-queen or 4-9, and they give it up to him. But it's a bit like this whole thing about the internet players can self-destruct sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Johan, let us know if we've missed something. Do get in touch. But it strikes me with 1,600 in chips, you're not weak on the table. There's somebody with 900, somebody with 1,200.
Right.
3-6 suited really doesn't strike me as a hand with a huge amount of possibilities. And if it's a pure still, well, like you say, that's it. You're out of the tournament now. It's a big move to make. But that's kind of a point, is that to make a move there, even if you were going to make it 3 times the big blind, well, that's best part of 1,000 anyway. So that's the problem when you get to that stage. If you want to make a big move,
you're either all in or you're not.
And
you're
on
not
the day that
it.
somebody has a hand, or the day that somebody fancies calling with sort of an unexpected call,
like king 6. Oh,
King
we've got
6.
9s against 10s as well, big and small blind.
That's the thing, is, you know, I mean, it is tricky. You know, we do talk about how, you know, everyone makes these moves. Oh well, that's.
Well, I guess Dodgy Geezer's probably thinking he covers Chaminade's chip stack.
Well, exactly. I would imagine that move is not in response to Chaminade, it's to get rid of Aunt Sally.
Right.
Because he thinks, pair of 9s are going to heads up. I'm not going to take 3 people on.
Yeah.
So I know I've got Chaminade covered. Unlucky for Chaminade there.
Yeah, very.
But he's certainly, with Aunt Sally behind him, the worst thing in the world is that he calls Chaminade for half his stack, and then Aunt Sally pushes all in. Because all of a sudden, I'm 3 ways with a pair of 9s.
Yeah.
I'm bound to see plenty of overcards. And I've got 5 cards to come yet. So, you know, that's... Some people don't pay attention to that. You go all in, I think, yeah, I'm going to call you. I'll call. And you forget there's somebody else around the table that then goes all in. And all of a sudden, you're looking at a side pot with more money, and you're thinking, oh, God. So sometimes if you want to call the person that's made the all-in, if there are people around the table, if you've got the chips to do it, then try and isolate. And that's quite a good way of disciplining yourself, because you think, is your hand, if you think your hand's good enough to call someone who's just gone all in, is it really that good that you're prepared to put them all in against the third player? Yeah. To try and push him out, you know.
So would you have just called his bet rather than going all in yourself?
No,
no, covered him?
No, I'm absolutely saying that was the right thing to do, because it kicks out Aunt Sally.
Yes, of course, sorry. There we go.
Skinner leaves us. Blinds 163.20, so there you see. The 5 on the river completed 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for Aunt Sally. Queen 7 wasn't particularly a super starting hand, but nor was Jack 8.
There we go. Ace Jack for Dodgy Geezer in the big blind.
Well, I'm sure he had all sorts of plans there.
Probably did.
I had that in one of the presenters the other night. You sit on the big blind and you think, right, I'm going to make a move here, I'm going to see what I can do here. Fold, 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 fold. Oh, okay, that'll be my pot then. Thanks ever so much. Why can't that happen? Why can't I get those kind of cards when I'm like in the middle position or around the back? No. Yeah. You get your big hand when you're on the big blind, and nobody wants to play.
No kidding.
Dodgy. See, that's interesting. I think in another life, without all to his left, Dodgy might have made a move with the ace-6.
Yep.
Aunt Sally's got an ace and might just think, oh, well.
Maybe, maybe. Nope.
But fair do. Fair dues. Well, that's the thing, is now with 3 empty spots, of course, those chips have gone somewhere. So Hoofy is the only one that's got less than he started with. And we always do that. You know, normally at this stage, there's nobody that's got 10 times the big blind. Here, we've very nearly got no one that's got the big blind, but 10 times the big blind. But there's still enough movement that says, well, I just fold this and wait for a better hand. Yeah.
They're not so pressured at this point.
Which is much better.
It is, isn't it? Because it actually means there is a bit more maneuverability in here. It's not, you know, all in with whatever you've got.
And you can use that to your advantage. I played in an online tournament. I played in one tournament this morning that was like turbo. And it was like bang, 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 bang. And then I played in one that was like 2 tables, 18 players, but proper kind of blind structure. And you can see the guys that are playing this structure for the first time. They're all in, they're making huge moves, and they just self-destruct. Yeah. And you do need to make sure, whatever game you're playing, that you actually know the rules of the game you're playing. And because if the blinds aren't putting pressure on you, you're putting pressure on yourself. You're thinking, got to move, got to accumulate chips, got to be getting active, got to build up a table image of being this wacky, crazy, dangerous guy. And then you do, you know, you do a Johan, you make it an all-in move with 3-6, and somebody with ace-jack calls you and tonks you out of the tournament.
Yeah.
Ace-2 on the blind, they're suited. On the button, shall I say. He feels that's good enough. Is 1700's not quite enough. See, Aunt Sally, I think, suspected Old was making a move. Oof. King or a 10 is going to need to fall.
Oh, always makes
4,
me
5,
hold my
6,
breath.
7, 8. It's going to be a split pot.
Oh, there we go.
Which Old will be very unhappy about, I would imagine. There's nothing worse than a split pot when you think, yes, got you. Oh, we're going to chop it up. 8, 7. Now, Old, see there, that strikes me as a real dangerous move. I know you've got to steal the blinds, but if you're going to steal the blinds, you kind of at least want some sort of card.
Right,
playing.
something to back it up if someone decides to call you.
Because, you know, when Johan makes his move with 3, 5, he gets called, doesn't he? 4, 8. There's a
Oh, he is really short stacked, though.
Yeah.
But still, 4, 8's quite...
Well, I guess he's just decided that if I lose any more big blinds, when I do go all in, no one's going to care. They'll just call me. Sally can call me and I'm covered. Dodgy's kind of got me covered. At least now he's on fairly even footing with, like, you know, 2 of the other players out, the 5 left.
So he's probably just waiting for position, and then it really didn't matter what the cards were so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's mistimed this because Dodgy will get out of it, but I can't see Old's going to go all in, and so will Aunt Sally. Unless she doesn't like the fact that there's 2 other guys and she can't do anything about it. Maybe she gives this up, lets these 2 take each other out. But there's also an opportunity for her here. Considering what we've seen some of these guys go in with, there is an opportunity for her here. As it goes, the 9 hits for hoof, so is safe as. Queen or ace is going to need to fall.
No.
And it doesn't, so the 9s. And Old, who was so beefy earlier on. And there was Hoofy a minute ago down to practically his pants and socks. And now he's back in the game with 5 grand.
Yeah.
And we're on the bubble. Our top 3 players, and that's the general structure you'll find with these single table tournaments.
Oh, I think so.
50% to the first, 30% to second, and 20 to third.
I think Hoofy might have... I don't think he was one of the ones that was ribbing me mercilessly about going in with a chip in a chair. The last time I played the Beat the Presenter, I was absolute rubbish. But they were saying in the chat box, it's ridiculous. Oh, are you trying to do chip in a chair? Why don't you just go all in? So there you go. Sometimes you...
Yeah, this... it depends. You know, it can work so many different ways. Yeah, go in now with anything because at least you've got enough chips there. If you double up, it's a volume. But similarly, you can go, do you know what, I just can't do it with this. I know I'm throwing away a third of my stack by just giving this up, but I would rather double up with 2/3 of that than just throw it away now. It does take a long while to get a balance. It's hard to get a feel for it. And one day the cards fall one way and one day the cards fall the other. That's the thing, is you can't really...
Sirrah, sirrah.
Exactly, you know. Sometimes it's good news, sometimes it's bad news.
You need a little bit this, a little bit that, a little bit way, a little bit wah.
Exactly, and here, look, big hand, 3-7, taking on the minor ace-8. But Gan leaves us on the bubble, so these guys are in the money. There you see it, 3-7, forced all in by the chips. And now Dodgy is going, where have my chips gone? And the blinds are 641, 1,280. Yep. That's quite scary.
That's quite a lot.
Dodgy has to go all in. He has hit. And only the ace is live for Sally. Gets the 3, but it's not going to be good enough.
Not enough. There we go. Actually, Gan, in the last tournament he played tonight that I was watching, he got quads.
Nice.
Very nice.
Did he get paid off?
He did get paid off as well. And it was heads up, and then in the next hand, he actually won that tournament. So there you go.
It's nice when the stars converge.
Isn't it, though?
And I had a lovely full house the other day. And not only that, but somebody else had hit the weaker full house, and it was wonderful. But those opportunities don't come around very often. Because obviously to hit the big hands involves there being quite an attractive flop. If there's a attractive flop, then people are scared. Damn them. Call me with rags, I say.
Yeah. Now, going back to the whole end game thing.
Yes.
And the heads up, because we were very nearly heads up in this tournament here. One of the things that I was reading, because I was doing a bit of research online, best way to learn online poker, go online.
Yeah, there's enough info out there. Oh,
look at that.
Well, there's all sorts of draws here.
Yeah.
Well, I bet Dodgy was thinking this would be a nice way to bring home the bacon with a nice straight flush. Aunt Sally picks it up. You're about to quote something. You're going to give me an arrow spin, aren't you?
No, I wasn't going to give you a quote. I was just going back to my notes. One of the things that I wanted to ask about. Someone said that the best scenario in heads-up hold'em, other than going all in with a monster, is to take down lots of small, uncontested pots.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, say goodbye to Hoofy.
Dodgy.
Pair of sevens there. Not quite good enough.
And Dodgy calls with hardly any chips left to play with, but it works out for him. Queen 4. Hits the queen. Oh, what is made himself a straight. A straight is not going to get any better for Aunt Sally. Dodgy now at 14,500, which we don't often see on these single tables, but because we started with our bigger chips. Aunt Sally actually not in too bad shape until Dodgy hits the 3 on the flop. Needs to see a 9. Queens and 3s with the 8 kicker for Dodgy. And there we go, Dodgy. He started off being our featured player that we saw a lot of action from. And he goes on to take down the biscuits. Well done, Dodgy. 50% to you, sir. Yeah.
Nothing to sneeze at, 50%.
No, not too bad at all.
No, and thanks for that. It was nice to watch that. Not a huge amount of heads-up play there, though, in that tournament.
No,
got down to the final 2, and it was...
Well, that's kind of the point we're making, is normally we see our best heads-up at the end of the multi-table.
Right.
Because there's so many chips in play there, even though there were more chips to start with, because of how long it took for those guys. And they did actually get to a fairly advanced level before they all kind of donked out, is that there's, by the time you get to heads-up, I've got twice the big blind. How many of you got 4 times the big blind? Push, fingers crossed, roll the dice, etc., etc.
Yeah. So when we're talking about heads up, there are a few different areas really that are important to talk about. So what I'm doing is I'm asking you out there as the viewers to send us in some principles for good heads up play. It might have to do with aggression. Yeah. It might have to do with relative chip stacks, because that has a lot to do with it, doesn't it? If you cover the other person, if you have 75% of the total chips on the table, then really you should be able to bully them off pretty much anything, shouldn't you? Yeah, but there's a lot of, well, this is what we're asking up for discussion. There's a lot of players who actually play better when they go into heads up down in chips. Yeah. Some players, when they go into heads up with a big chip lead, they end up actually so concerned about making sure they don't lose that position that they can get completely overrun by the smaller chip stack. So a lot of difference in styles of play as well. But that's what we want to hear, is what your thoughts are on the whole shebang. And the psychological about it as well. Going in as the underdog, or the person with the less chips, if you can double through and therefore take loads of chips away from the chip leader, is that psychologically going to really throw them off their game? What do you do, and what should I do as a player in a heads-up game? So this is what I'm asking from you, and I want to compile a nice, neat list I can tape up to my computer monitor to help me win against some of you, hopefully. So send us in your top tips for end games, for heads-up play here in the studio. There you go. Text us poker at 84222. That's the new number there. Make sure you put the word poker in first. And you can send us an email, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And I believe we have an email to take a look at. Well, let's take a look at that then. This is quite a special one. Oh? It is, it really is. I think this is sweet. I thought I was the only one whose family watches from home. Hi, Mom, by the way. This sounds ominous. Yes, we have some of Matt's family. This is hi, Uncle Matt. Uncle Matt. Oh, hi, Uncle Matt. Great double award-winning show as usual. Like that very much. That'll get your email read out every time. She says, could you please explain what a blind is for my mum, your sister-in-law, Linda? Thanks a lot, Uncle Matt. You're ace. And keep up the excellent work. Love, Shell. So is that one of your nieces? That'll be niece Shell. Okay. Hi, Shell. Well, and actually, this raises a good point. Don't forget, if there's any questions you've got, we really don't mind what level they are. Of course. It takes a second to answer these. And if there's anyone joining us and they're brand new to poker, that might seem to a huge percentage of our audience like, duh, the basics. But we really invite every single question you've got. The blinds, most people, when they know poker play with antes, which is there's 5 of us, we all sit down, we all put a penny in, and that's our ante, and then we'll get our cards and play. In Texas Hold'em, because the sequence of play is so important, the antes are taken care of by something called blinds. So you'll always see when we watch our games, one of the players is designated as the dealer, with the dealer button, the D in a circle. And the blinds are defined, we started that tournament 10-20. So I'm the dealer, the person to my left is the small blind, so that's 10. The person to their left is 20, because they're the big blind.
And what that means is the sequence of play that then goes around. Everybody has a bet to match. It's at least the big blind on that first round of betting to get involved. In tournaments, the blinds also go up. We saw the blinds went up there, and they went up to, like, you know, they go from 10-20, 20-40, 40-80, and on and on. And that's the difference with cash games and tournaments, is in tournaments there's this pressure from the blinds that keeps you involved, because you can't sit there forever, because the blinds are going to eat your chip stack. So I hope that helped your Linda, Michelle family. And thanks very much for your email. Now go to bed.
For goodness sake, go to bed. It's late. Now, hopefully our regular viewers enjoyed that good sit and go. Watched that pretty much from the beginning to the end, really.
Yeah, good, yeah.
So got to see how it changed in all the different intermediate levels. And now we're going to take a quick sneaky peek at our MTT just to catch up on the action there. And here we go.
Through the green window. Okay, now we started with 100 players, and we're down to our 35 already. Ooh. So no one's going crazy. We're now down from... we started off with 13 tables, down to our 5 tables. We're following here our big stack, which you can see really is quite a big stack compared to some of the players. So there's, is that Morog? I can't quite see that because of the way the table graphics is.
I think it's Morog.
Morog 67 is there with 14,000 in chips. And considering the blinds, and we just had this conversation about the blinds, you can see at the top of the screen the blinds are 100 and 200. So we've got through a fair few levels. Guyot, sorry, I went into my Spanish there. Guyot is all in with the 5s, runs into a pair of queens, which would be bad enough, and then the queen hits the set on the flop, and it sort of becomes a massacre. But we lose yet another. 5's not the worst thing to have to go all in with, but timing is as timing is. Aussie on the button manages to get himself to just under 7,000. So just to let you know what you're watching, this is our multi-table tournament that we're going to follow throughout the night. We're going to bounce around a few tables, just quickly show you some of the players involved in the action, because hopefully later on we are going to see some of these guys with all the chips right at the end to give Alcair a bit of a heads-up action to watch.
Yes, a bit of tuition and the old heads-up.
So now we go from our big stack over to our small stack table. So these guys, very lesser in the chip department. 2 Ronnies, 2 grand. Chillins down at 16. Graham, who we've seen before on the show, I was just about to say good evening to him, but he's left.
Bye-bye. There we go.
That's the thing, is it's getting to that stage that a lot of people we seem to have lots of questions from that get to the middle stage of the tournament. So they've gone from 100 to 35 players here. But if they weren't the players, and in response to what you were saying earlier on about limping in a bit earlier on, getting a bit more jiggy,
right?
You can't honestly say that all the people that have got more chips here have had stronger hands and better situations. They've probably been a bit more cheeky, a bit more speculative, done some of those moves like we saw Old doing earlier on, you know, kind of forcing people off hands with just pure chip movement. But that's your multi-table for tonight, and we are going to be following this out the night, and we'll spend a bit more time on some of these tables once we get down to the last few guys.
Yep, so you will get a chance to see a little bit more of the multi-table action after the break. But also after the break, it's Beat the Presenter, so that would be me. And you will be treated to this lovely man's commentary while I'm playing against some of you. Beat the Presenter, yes. Wow, this should be very interesting with all that I've learned and all the poker I've been playing lately.
Well, all these printouts, they've got to be for something. All those trees can't have died for nothing.
I know, and look, they're even highlighted all pretty and everything. All my information here.
Nerd.
I'm ready. I know, I am a bit. But I have been playing a lot lately, like a lot of online poker. So I'm ready. I went from 80 chips to win a tournament a couple of days ago. I don't know if I've mentioned it. Did I mention it?
No, I don't think so. You've not mentioned it quite as many times as Michelle always mentions how she's doing. But do keep going, please. It's great fun.
I'm excited. I haven't quite reached your dizzying heights of poker yet, but I'm
you haven't seen my Beat the Presenters. Ooh, that's smarts.
Oh, well, after the global news, which we're going to be going to very soon, you're going to be taking a look at some of the poker news from around the world and here in the UK. Come back. Beat the Presenter with me. You'll be doing the commentary. It's all here on Poker Night Live. We'll see you soon.
Hello there, welcome back to Poker Night Live. It's Matt and Kara with you tonight. Kara's not going to be able to come and play because she's off to go and play poker with her online friends.
That's right.
But we're gonna go and watch some multi-table action in a minute. Before that, just a quick reminder, we always invite all of your questions and points of view on poker, but tonight we also want to hear your thoughts specifically on heads up. What do you think are the key attributes, the real defining principles of good heads up play? There are a number of ways to get in touch with us, the first of which is our text number. Pay attention. You've got to put the word poker at the beginning of your message. It's to 84222, 84222, begin your message with poker and let us know your name. And you can also email us, as always, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Anything you want to talk about? Any question you have? We welcome it all. And I'm just going to quickly pick up the game we were watching before the break. Had Johan in the top seat, top left, seat 8, and he pushed all in with 3-5, I think it was, suited. And we kind of said, you know, was that the hand to make the move with? And I asked him to get in touch, and he did do. And he's pretty much said what I expected him to say, was I pushed my 1200 in to win 480, which is obviously a big deal to you when you've only got 1200 left. I had 3-6, so there you are. I had 3-6, and I know if I get called, I at least have 2 live cards. So I may as well chase that, because if he makes that move, if no one calls him, he takes the blinds. And the point he's making, which is a very valuable point, is that if he does get called, he knows he has 2 live cards. And what he means by that is a lot of people, when they get to that desperation stage, they wait until they've got any ace or any king, and then they're all in. But the thing to consider is somebody gets ace-4 and they think, that's good enough for me, I'm all in. If you are going to run into a hand that's going to call you, it's probably going to be something that can beat that, and not only beat it, but could even like nullify one of your cards. So if somebody waits for ace-4 to go all in, they get called by ace-10. Your ace is no longer any good to you. So I totally understand the point he's making there. The 3-6, the move itself might knock everybody else away and he steals the blinds. If he does get called, at least he's got 2 cards to hit. As it goes, he gets called by a guy with ace-jack, and he gets out of the tournament. But thanks very much. It's always really nice when we hear from the guys we've been watching. So thanks very much for getting in touch. As I say, do get in touch with us all night long. We want to hear it. Kara's going to disappear into her Beat the Presenter game, and we are going to go down. And if I'm not mistaken, we're going to take a look at a heads-up tourney.
Ooh! Oh, I'm very excited about that.
It's a $10 heads-up game. Let's go and have a look at that now.
Oh, yes.
This must be a first.
I know. I've never seen a heads-up tourney here.
Well, this is good, and we've had a lot of people asking for this. So this is a $10 heads-up. And, of course, the difference here that makes it a unique proposition is that we normally only come to heads-up at the end of a tournament, be that a single table, which is normally over quite quickly, or the end of the multi-table, which can be pretty juicy. And here is our player in seat 1, completely about to ruin what I was about to say, which was the difference here being that you're heads-up, but the blinds are only 10-20. Of course, you only start with a low number of chips, so it doesn't have that big an impact. But the difference is you can actually try and play some poker in this heads-up situation rather than go mental, which is what we see, and Johan made the great point there. You want to go all in with live cards, or you just want to go in waiting, waiting for a decent hand. In this instance, it's going to be interesting to see how these guys react to the rules of heads-up. You're going to see aggression, hopefully. You're going to see people being far less picky about the cards they're prepared to play. There's a lot to it, and this is what we're going to hopefully come back and reflect on later on if we get any of your emails in. And then we can see all of Kara's lovely pre-prepared notes and highlighter pen, which I can vouch for. There's reams of it. She's not mucking around, I can tell you that much.
No, people don't realise it, but I'm quite serious about this whole poker malarkey.
You're just crazy.
I like it.
Now I'm going to have to work out how we say this. Isaac and Robbie. 7-5 suited, 7 king offsuit. Neither of them hit. Now Robbie has. The smallest of bets from Robbie, but with Isaac having hit nothing, it's very easy for him to just get away from it. And in a lot of cases, it's lots of posturing pre-flop in heads up, and then really a battle of who's the best at making it look like, I didn't hit, I really hope you didn't either. Both playing a bit crazy there. Isaac actually hit the top pair with the king. He's trying to induce the bluff. It's not even a bluff because Robbie has hit a part of it. Just a slow, straight call from Isaac, again, just to try and maybe later on induce more chips. Could attempt to check. He's taking his time. He's just made the minimum. Will get paid off. So a value bet there. He believes he's got the best of it. He just hopes the last amount is going to get called on. Not really enough in that pot to give him a huge chip lead, and he'll be gutted that his ace-10 didn't get any action, because that's a pretty damn fine hand in heads-up. 2-queen actually had the best of it there. Actually would have had Robbie dominated. Robbie might fancy this, but no. Of course, the other difference here is these guys don't have any history. They're not sat through a whole table. So they don't get the luxury of thinking, well, I know this is a guy who likes to limp. This is a guy who I know makes lots of moves. You sit down, you pay your money, and you're instantly heads up. But as Kara rightly said, this is what a lot of people are tipping is going to be the next big thing. There's never been a shortage of heads-up tournaments live. There's lots of heads-up tournaments that take place around the world. But online, it's not really where people seem to spend their time. But in fact, within the last couple of weeks, online, there's been lots of big games. There's like now a 10 grand heads-up tourney they run, 5 grand on some I've seen. So it's where a lot of serious people push some serious money. Ace-8 hasn't hit the flop, but going to make a bet. Gets called. Isaac, you wonder if he was calling that to see if Robbie would then check on the next round of betting. Quite a lot of people, we saw this earlier on if you were with us, was a guy bluffing, but bluffing with a lot of conviction. He bluffed once, got called, he bluffed twice, got called, bluffed 3 times, and that was enough. Whereas there you get the feeling that Robbie bets and these calls to see if on the next card Robbie's still going to bet. As Kara just can't seem to get a seat.
Just cannot get a seat.
Come on, guys, be nice. They all want to be on telly with you.
Right, I'm going to ask nicely, but...
Okay, if any knight in shining armour would like to stand up.
I don't think so.
3, 4. 5 would give Isa straight. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pair of 7s for Robbie.
Right, I'm ready to sit down.
Is somebody about...
Someone's going to stand up for me.
Making Jam, we're very grateful to you, Making Jam. You're a...
Oh, thank you, and I did get in, and you are such a star. Thank you so much.
Making Jam, we love you. We take our hats off to you if we were wearing hats.
We would do. Right, I'm going to go very quiet now for a while because my typing is too loud.
Okay.
So I'm going to, hopefully they can turn my mic down. They won't be able to hear me breathing too loud as tells as well. That's always a good thing.
All right, this is the very lonely section of the evening, which is a shame because, look, this is what you wanted. You asked for heads up.
I know. You'll have to fill me in later.
Two, 3 off for the boy Isa. Isa good. Well, they're connected. Maybe he's typing. 2, 4, 20, 40 are the blinds. So they can do this for as long as they want, swapping backwards and forwards. But at some point, somebody will need to take the initiative and make a move. And again, proves a point I was saying a bit earlier on, most of the time you're not going to hit the flop. Can you keep your typing down, please? Someone's trying to watch a heads-up tournament here.
I'm trying to be quiet. I'm explaining that I won't be chatting so much, is what I'm doing.
Well, both these boys are going to bet here because they've both run into the flush. I can't believe that both of these aren't going to get fairly excited because they've had so little to play. Both being sneaky. Robbie having an 80, gonna raise, I'm sure, from Isa. All in, it's the curse of the internet player. It's all or nothing. And Robbie might just call this thinking, ha-ha! And Easy will be thinking, ha-ha, and then he'll go, oh no, I've got 60 chips left. Well, it's gonna need a miracle. It's not gonna happen, that's it. And in fact, just to rub salt into the wound, Robbie finishes up with having had a flush, he goes on to make a straight to the ace. But that, I believe, is groundbreaking. I believe that's the first ever heads-up tournament we've ever brought you here on Poker Night Live. So, quick, wasn't it? But we'll come back to this. We're going to come back to heads-up. This is our chosen subject for the evening. And while Kara's busy wiping the floor with you boys, we're going to go down and check out our multi-table tournament and see how that's getting on. Now, we are down now. Last time we popped in on this, this started with 100 players. When we last checked in, we were at 35. We're now down to 24. we have the top 10 going to get some pay. And remembering this is a $10 buy-in. 10th place is going to get you 15 bucks. So really, just getting in the money, it's nice, and you've done a lot better than 90 players before you, but you really want to be up there in the top 3. The top 3 are $300 for top prize, $200 for second, and $125 for third. So that's a pretty juicy return on your investment. And we see 2 Ronnies, who we identified a bit earlier on our short stack table, is doing okay. He's got himself up to 9,000. Chilling was low on chips and still kind of is down there in the lower numbers of our guys. Ram Chip, one of our regular contributors on the forum. Don't forget, go and check out that website at some point, folks. Some good stuff there, lots of info about the show, and some good subjects picked apart as we see Gaza take it down on the button with Ace King. Two Ronnies picks up an entirely playable hand in mid position. See if Spit likes his King 8 anymore just because they're suited. He's having a think, gets out of it. Be interesting to see how 2 Ronnies likes to treat Ace 10. Just going to limp in. Well, that's kind of not the best flop to see for Ace 10 in light of another player having limped in, because of course that player on the big blind, he could have anything. He could have a 7, he could have a 6, he could have a 2. Even though you've got Ace 10, no single part of that has come down. Ram had made a bet there, he could have taken that, but why would he? He's only involved because of the big blind. Obviously not in the mood to steal it. Going to wait for a better hand, and there's a better hand. Not such a great position though. The good news is at least Ram has a swinger to act before him, because I'm sure if Ram was going to be first to act, he would be tempted to make a raise. As it is, he now has a player in position. Well, it's all about timing. Decided that it has to be all in, and I mean, there you go, mate. Well done. Lucky stuff, to be quite honest. If it wasn't for the 8 on the flop, that's a huge bundle of chips to put in, and swinger with the kings. It hurts. Oh, it hurts. It's a deep burn. There it is. You're on the button, you got the kings, you make a bet, and somebody goes all in, and you think, bingo. Only one hand you've got to be scared about, and it's not a pair of 8s. But I love a pair of 8s. Not to the tune of going all in with 6 grand, but if I'd known what the flop was going to be. Another Ace 10, this time for Spit, in the face of a big raise from Chillin. He's got him more than covered, and might be tempted. Might be tempted to raise this up to get rid of Ram, and go heads up with Ace 10. Okay, decides against it, and the 6s will take it down, and Spit probably very happy to see that, because the flop did nothing for an Ace 10, and now he gets a pair of 10s. Pair of 3s, just doubling the big blind. A little test to bet to see if there's anybody out there with a hand that wants to play. Always worth doing, and it's a very small part of his chip stack. Spit gonna try and just slink in this. He's gonna be first to act. He's gonna be under the gun once the flop comes down. The ace is scary, but then again, Monroe only made it double the big blind. Do you see that as a weak ace play? Do you see that as a suited connector play? Remembering that as people bet, you're trying to look at their betting pattern and put them on a range of hands. It's going to be tough for Monroe. It's the only thing he could have done there. To flat call doesn't make sense. To fold is acceptable. To make another move on top, it makes it look like I got the ace. And now Spit has a real decision to make, because to go deeper into this, he's going to start committing chips. Totally understandable, and it's a good move by Monroe there. Didn't have any part of the best of that. We're down to our last 19 players across 3 tables. Two Ronnies in the small, doubles it on the blind. Well, it'll be interesting to see if Ram gets any action out of this. Two Ronnies. I'm sure on the button the pair of sixes had all sorts of plans about making a raise, hoping people saw it as a steal, getting involved in his sixes holding up. But Ram Chip has actually taken the initiative away from him here. Ouch. Sorry about that, just cracked my hand into the desk. In case you're wondering what that splintering bone sound was. Two Ronnies, in light of that big raise, goes, you know what, them sixes, all of a sudden not quite as sexy as they looked initially. And I can tell you that in the remaining 19 players, 18 grand is the biggest chip stack you're going to find. So really, Munro's the only one that if suddenly the tables broke down and 18 grand arrived at the table, he doesn't have to be too scared, but everybody else is so completely covered. Ace 9, Ace 10. And Munro again, showing that it's chip movement can often win you the day. See if two Ronnies wants to get involved in this. He does have position on Munro, so he would have been second to act after the flop. But Munro, it would suggest that the reason Munro has those chips is because he's a player that is very good at putting people to the test. Alvasac on the button does find a decent hand. Ace-Jack suited. Has the added weight of being on the button. Nobody knows if he's stealing or has a legit hand. Munro's getting some reasonable hands here compared to his opponents. Two Ronnies has sevens. It seems like every time two Ronnies has a hand, so does Munro. Sevens doesn't even fancy attempting to limp here. This could be because of Munro's previous actions. He always seems to make moves. Two Ronnies now probably thinking, good, one of the reasons I threw that 7 away is because my history shows that Munro makes a move. If I want to take the initiative here, Munro could push back on top of me. If I try and limp him, Munro's going to make it expensive. So even though he's thrown away a pair of sevens, that is probably based upon what he knows Munro to be, and that's why knowledge about your players, it's very tricky to multi-table and keep notes on all this, but we see we've only been watching this for a short while and already we can start profiling some of these players as they expose themselves to us. Talking about their cards, sniggering, sniggering, sniggering. Pair of queens for two Ronnies thinking, please not this time, Munro. Munro gets out of it. Two Ronnie's probably just wondering how to maximise this. Okay, folks, so we're going to jump out of that for a while. As I say, this is our multi-table tournament. All night long, we're going to jump in and out of that, pick up some of those guys. I'm sure we'll see some of those names again a bit later down the line. Right now, we are going to go into another heads-up tournament, but before we do, a quick reminder about our contact details. If you want to get in touch with the show, and we do want you to, please do get involved. Any questions you have for us, any subjects, any scenarios, anything at all. No jokes, please. We don't do jokes. But anything other than that, and don't forget that our girl Kara, she want to think about the heads up. She want to know what you think. Don't concentrate. You're not gonna win like that. Come on. You've got too many losses on Beat the Presenter. You've got to make up for my shortcomings. No, not you. Believe me, I'm never ever criticising or playing Beat the Presenter ever again. But if you want to get in touch with us here, there's a couple of ways to do that. The first is our text, which is our 84222. Please do start your message with the word poker, and then whatever you'd like to talk about, and include your name so we know who you are. And also you can email us here, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Anything you want. We're here till 2, plenty of time to go, and we are going to jump down now into our second ever Heads Up tournament. This is going to be a $10 game. Let's go have a look. Are you jiggling your head at the screen?
I was getting involved.
You're multitasking. So here we go. Here we go. Alan Thompson. One of my favourite names. One of my favourite nicknames. We've seen Toast Rack, Monkey Boy, Hoof-Hearted, Harsband. You know, they're all there. Alan Thompson. Ladies and gentlemen, live on stage, Alan Thompson. 3, 4, 5, 7. A 6 would be nice, wouldn't it, Sharky? Checks to Alan. I bet Alan's real name is probably something like Max Power. Or
I'm playing against Max Power.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, you know, or Derek Savage. Something kind of like, wow. So when he plays online, he, rather than doing what the rest of us do, which is they take our mundane names and make him good, you know, they give himself, I shall be known as Alan Thompson. Hello, Alan Thompson here. Got Queen 6 suited. Sharky, gonna have a little tester. You got a 7, you got a king? No. And let us see how these guys play compared to our previous heads-up opponents, who very much seem to play the oft-seen internet style of all or nothing. They're either just calling the blinds, or they're going all in. Here we see Alan has hit the low pair. He's got a good kicker. He asks the question, do you want to play? Sharky puts back 150, and Alan, he gets out of it. 8-6. In the small blind, not even going to bother. And thank God this is a computer dealt, because playing heads up in a home game where you spend several minutes shuffling, deal it, and you've hardly dealt the cards and somebody's already folded and then you've got to shuffle them again. That's not fun. Shuffling machines, it's the way forward. 9 Jack versus 9 5. They do go to the turn. Alan has the draw, 7, 8, 9, Jack, and even better than that is the 10 gives him the straight up to the king, but Sharky is the first to bet, and Alan decides he doesn't want to chase the draw. A premium hand in heads up. Might play it sneaky, might play it by the book, 2, 4, 6, 3 times the big blind, plays it by the book but doesn't get a call. He's slightly moving ahead here though. Blind's only on the first level, 10, 20. King is a good enough hand, heads up. 7-10 has the added bonus of being suited, but none of that comes down. Going to need run to make the flush of any use. And it would be hard to put Sharky on an ace because of his lack of aggression pre-flop. This could be interesting. Power 8s, lucky 8s, 3 times the big blind. Alan going to flat call this or come back over the top. Over the top, 170. Sharky probably still going to like that to the flop. He has position as well in that Alan is going to have to bet out first once the flop comes down. In fact, he's going to be even more aggressive. These boys could well leapfrog. Sweet irony, nobody's hit a single thing. Sharky probably still quite happy with that. Going to make a tester bet in light of Alan's check. The thing is, the thing is to take another free card there, unless it's an 8 or it's a lower card, it's really not going to be something that Sharky wants. This could be Alan's plan with that check, is to make the check raise to make it look like he's got the 9 or the Jack. Sharky's going nowhere. And quite rightly, Sharky takes it down. And we're straight into these boys, straight through it. Now that's the good thing about the heads-up stuff, is that you will find a lot of people just sit and go through a huge number of these in quite a small period of time. It's why a lot of the big cash pros like to play the heads-up stuff is because if you're all about profit, and we don't often talk about this, oh wow, Sharky hits himself 2 pair while Alan hits 1, but if you want to sit in a game where you've got to plough through 7 other opponents to get into the top 3, here it's very much all or nothing. You heads up, there's only one winner, the games aren't going to take forever, and you can get through a huge amount of these. Sharky is 1-0. 9-3 is not great. It suited the ace-7, the stronger hand. Alan, already down a touch. Big pair of hands there. 8-3 versus 8-2. There can be only one. 8-3 with a couple of slight edges. Slight in rank and suited. You spitting at the screen in disgust?
No.
You stomping your boots?
Maybe a little.
8-10, 4-3. 4-3, not even going to bother making up the small blind here. I think King 9 is going to be good enough, but it's not going to get the chance to play. And don't forget, we are asking for your thoughts on heads up. Not something we focused on a huge amount before. What do you think are the key principles to successful heads-up play? Ace high versus Jack high, and now Alan has a little more interest in it. If a club were to come down, 40 is probably worth calling. You're getting the pot odds to chase that draw. You've got the ace can come, you've got the club can come. Even though he's short on chips, he should at least be calling or raising. He raises. Gets the call, and there's your ace, there's your reward. The 9 for Sharky. Pair of 9, should I say. Don't really understand why there was no bet there. Sharky gives it up, and Alan is only 60 off his original 1,000. Remember, this is a $10 tournament. Everyone starts with 1,000, blinds at 10.20. Every 10 hands, and of course you can see the speed these lads are getting through their hands. Doesn't take too long. Ace 2. It's like being in a washing machine, sitting next to Kara when she's playing on Beat the Presenters. Lots of thrashing and gnashing of teeth. Not that that's what your washing machine does. I think you know
need
what
to
I
get
mean.
that checked.
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
if your washing machine's doing
the
that.
gnashing of teeth thing sounds kind of horrific film. Queen 9 is suited for Sharky. If he could see what Alan has, he might just limp in and cross his fingers. He could take the offensive here, use his position. And neither of these guys being particularly aggressive here. They're very much sort of seeing the flop, and whoever has the best of it's betting and winning. Alan picks up the straight, picks up the wheel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If only it was high-low, it'd be even better. Alan once again gets himself to a position where he's not too far off where he started. Now gets pair of 9s, very nice in heads up. First to act, needs to make a move here. Nothing too scary, but with 8-2, I think really whatever raise he'd made there, Sharky was going to get out of it. And the normal rules of Hold'em apply. Slow playing it just risks giving your opponent the opportunity to draw out. 6-8 suited, 5-3 offsuit. Another pair of monsters in the heads-up game. Once again, Alan's back to his starting position practically. King 5, Queen 5. Be interesting to see the psychology of when people start getting bored of not having a hand. No part of that for anyone. The king is still good for Alan. He who bets wins. Somebody bet and you will take this pot. And now there's diamonds to be scared of, lots of reasons to be scared. That would be good enough to get rid of Sharky, I'm pretty sure. Even though Sharky had the draw, he doesn't want to pay even the minimum. And I think that's maybe an error. Maybe people would like to pick up on this, is I think you have to be prepared to chase a few more draws in heads up. You can't expect to be only ever betting when you've got a made hand. King, Queen. Again, it's going to make a move, but will Alan come with 4-8? We saw Earls making far bigger moves with 4-7 suited earlier on, but not in a heads up. A6 again. Any ace is not bad. Probably trying to work out exactly what bet you do need to make to actually get any action here. These boys being very, very tight. Even just doubling the blind. I think the truth is here at this, in the first couple of levels, you've got to be prepared to just like get a bit more involved. You've got to, when somebody offers you a limp, you may as well take it and see the flop, because you know the odds of being dealt something worth playing with. Ace-5, Ace-7. Somebody bets at this, they're going to win. They're going to have to start doing this soon. It'll be a shame if they play like this until the blinds push them into it. That's a good move. Doesn't have any part of it, doesn't have any part of the draw. And maybe that'll be enough just to unlock Sharky and think, you know what, sometimes when I bet, I win these. I think if any player's likely to start doing that, it is Sharky. Six is for Alan. Come on, Alan. We're now at 40-80. Doubles the blind. Sharky's going to call it. Sadly for Alan, I don't think he's going to get any more play out of this. He does have the best hand. He has only the ace to fear, which I believe you would think unlikely in Sharky's hand due to Sharky's pre-flop action. Pair of sixes with a diamond in there just for fun. Shark is $30 over where he started in chips.
Well, it looks like I've missed all of the heads-up action here.
No. Well, these guys are already... Shark is 1-0 up. They literally went from one game instantly into the other. They're in for the long haul. But what we've seen is that they're being so timid. Admittedly, they're either both hitting junk, not wanting to get involved, or when one does have hand, the other does have junk.
Right.
And that's why we're here at 40-80. But actually, you can see that the chip stacks, they're practically where they started.
Right.
And I think it's a shame, because there have been opportunities where if somebody had just been a bit more aggressive, and you raised it earlier on as one of the things that can be a defining factor in successful heads-up plays, you have to be aggressive. Generally, the more aggressive player is the one that's going to win.
Right, because Sharky had Queen 3 there and just threw it away.
Yeah, they're not even taking the opportunity to limp in against each other.
Right.
And in heads up, there's a certain element of when you both don't have your hand, you make it cheap, and then you try and outplay each other. You either hit a hand, and this is another thing that we've discussed before on the show, is most people are very good at pre-flop play. They know the strength of ace-10 versus a pair of eights, or ace-queen offsuit, etc., etc. What a lot of people aren't good at is playing post-flop when they don't hit anything. And these guys almost want to only get involved when they both have good pre-flop hands, and then they see who hits and who doesn't, and then they get out of the game. So there's not much, it's not exactly a game of chess. It's kind of a bit by the book. Here, Alan will make a move, and Sharky decides if Queen 6 is strong enough.
Right.
To be honest, that's the fact he calls is kind of out of character with what we've seen. But now that Alan's got 2 overcards, he checks and Sharky checks, and you see that's kind of very much the way they've been playing.
If Alan checks, shouldn't Sharky then bet into it to push him off?
Well, there's no or just to ask the question.
Him,
yeah, absolutely. And now Sharky will give this up, even though Sharky called start off with now. It's
it's kind of a very passive version of heads up. It is kind of, let's just, oh, I hope I get dealt a good hand. I didn't, I chuck it away. This might be more action because the blinds are now 81.60. Sharky's already got 160 in with 550 left, and he's got a king. Alan makes a move. Again, it's all or nothing, and Sharky might take it. And now he's hit the 10. Alan's hit the 7. An ace or a 7 is needed, and it isn't, so Sharky's going to take that down with 10s and kings. That's 1400. And I would imagine Alan could well go all in here if Sharky pushes him to it. Unless he wants to live to fight another day with only 420 in his wallet. It's suited, it's live. He goes all in. Sharky is going to have to call this. He hits himself a king. Alan's got a 5 and needs to see a 5 or a 6. Sorry, 5 or a 7. And he doesn't. 2-0 to Sharky.
Okay, 2-0 to Sharky.
And you didn't see much of that, but the beginning of that was of interest to prove the point that you can steal a lot more hands, steal a lot more pots in heads up, that the guys weren't really taking advantage of weakness from the other players there.
Right.
And everyone, I think, quite often when people check to them, they're like, oh, I'm worried that it's setting a trap. But you can see most times when people check, it's because they want another card for free and they haven't hit anything.
Right. So how do you get over that sort of fear? Because I would have that exact same fear playing heads up, and I have done.
The truth is, you just have to experiment with it. You have to, sometimes it's worth sitting in a game and going, right, I'm going to be Mr. Aggressive this game. I'm going to try out a few different styles. And you have to develop your game, because you can get away in bigger tournaments. Well, you played the other night, you said it. You get through the tournament because you know how to play, you know what's a good hand, you know when to lay down a hand. You get heads up, and if somebody's coming at you, you're just like, fold, 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 oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is you have to start pushing back, because in heads up, once somebody gets some momentum, it's very hard to get it back. But it takes a bit of developing. So it'll be interesting if we see some more of that.
Okay, well maybe that would be one of our principles as well. Try to gain that momentum in heads-up play, because we do need some more fundamental principles of good heads-up play from you at home. I'm being very stern about this because, let's be frank, I need the help. I'm sure there are other people out there who need a nice list of, good heads-up principles.
Yep.
So, let us know here in the studio. Send in what you think makes good heads-up play. You can either text us or email us, and we will compile a nice list, and I will post it on the forum if it's, good. Poker is a word to text. Start that off with poker. 84222 is the number. And you can send an email, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk, and also let us know what you found the heads-up tournament that we just watched, because that is a new thing for us. That was kind of interesting to do. Yeah. And we will be seeing some of my Beat the Presenter slots, so obviously lots of things you can email in and talk to us about. Right now, let's take a look at the MTT. I think we've got a final table. So this is very exciting. Maybe a little more heads-up action in
well, there were about 19 players left when we last had a watch. See, Little Bully, who earlier on was identified as our chip leader, he still is. He's brought 45,000 million chips to the table. 2 Ronnies, who we watched a lot of in seat 7 on previous table, all in with ace 4, picks it up with the aces. And we can see that we've got blinds at 400, 800, so not a million levels into this. Quite tight is going to be waiting for an opportunity to make a move, because all of the players on this table can invest 2.5 grand without really being too worried. Queens for Jay. Not happy about that king, but Raoul is kind enough to check it to him, so he's going to move in here. And it's not the smallest amount to pick up, is it? Set of blinds, 1,200. St Elmo in the cutoff with 7s. Jack Queen doesn't fancy any part of it. See if we can, in our last section here before the break, pick up anything about Little Bully that lets us know why it is that he's done so well.
Yeah.
Happy to pay to see the flop, even though he knows he's out of position. He's picked up a 5. Surprised he doesn't bet there. I'm out of position, but I just want to see if you've not hit anything. St Elmo has the best of it, but also checks. That's not really going to change anything. Still an undercard from St Elmo, and now Little Bully makes the move that I kind of thought he might have made on the
the flop. And now, St Elmo is buggered.
No kidding.
If Little Bully wants to sort of check this, I don't know if St Elmo is going to bet into it because of that ace. Little Bully probably best to... Well, I wasn't going to say 24 grand to be quite honest, but I was going to say Little Bully is probably best served to actually bet here. There's no point in setting a trap. Oof. Little Bully probably hoping that looks like a steal, like he's trying to represent the ace. St Elmo's not about to go heads up with the chip leader.
Not going to risk that. So should St Elmo have put in a continuation bet then, post-flop?
Well, considering Little Bully chose not to make a bet, the fact that Little Bully calls, and again, it's a bit like we always say, you're looking at people's actions and you're trying to put them on a range of hands. So St Elmo makes a bet and Little Bully calls. Anybody that calls a reasonable raise to me is clearly chasing a big hand.
Right.
You know, they've not made a hand, otherwise they're going to try and come back at you. So they're clearly chasing. And somebody that makes that kind of a call, who you put on a drawing hand, if you do indeed put them on a drawing hand, their first act and they check, it reeks of I haven't made it yet.
Yeah.
So probably the last thing I'm going to do is let you have another free card. So I'm surprised there's St Elmo, who we actually can see does have the best of it, right up until the river, indeed. A little tickle bet there might just make Little Bully go, you know, I don't know if I want to chase this any further.
It might not be worth it.
I mean, he's got the chips. The danger, the only possible counter-argument is that St Elmo sees that he's up against the chip leader.
Yes, I suppose that,
a lot of wise wisdom that says the things you're looking to do in a multi-table tournament is get to the final table and not be going up against people that can bust you out. Obviously, as the chips move around, that becomes harder and harder. Somebody like St Elmo is very close to a lot of these players. So if he makes a big move against Olbasak or Raoul or JB, you know, all these guys, it's really an all or nothing decision. Anybody wants to run into Little Bully, he can really afford to take people on, and he's only going to end up back on the average chip stack. If you look where everyone else is here, they're kind of all around between the 15, 20 grand mark. 7 drops. 7 drops on the river. Little Bully finds 3,200 bet into him. There's 2 overcards on the table, the 6s. There's reasons to be scared of that, but it's a reasonably small bet. Again, if that was 2 Ronnies being asked for 3,000, that's a percentage. For Little Bully, it's not a big problem. And he seems to have complete control over that big chip stack. And it's a bit like the conversation we had about the heads up, is people react in different ways when they've got the chip stack. Now they're suddenly going to protective mode, where they've worked so hard to get this chip stack, the last thing they're going to do is anything stupid. Or they do what is more advisable, which is actually be more flexible, use those chips to get involved in more hands. Because you know that the other players can only afford to get involved in hands where they really, there's a lot on the line, and you can use that pressure to bully them. It's like their own little personal bubble. Little Bully's getting some hands as well, you have to say.
Yeah, he's got some good hands and the chips to back them up. So he's just limped in here, really. Double the big blind.
That's not a great flop, to be honest, even though he's picked up the straight draw if any of the 4 queens in the deck come down. Right now, it'd be interesting to see if he opts to make a bet. Well, he's now got an up and down draw. One of the 7s Raoul's already holding. That's not going to make it any easier. I think this is going to be checked down. I can't see Raoul betting into this, and I certainly can't see Little Bully liking the look of that. So I think this is going to be checked down, and we'll still find out Little Bully. That seems to be another thing Little Bully's getting involved in. Lots of hands where actually the flop is so scary that no one bets, but ultimately Little Bully's taking these chips, and the blind's now 1,500 in the middle before anybody even does anything.
Yeah.
Quite tight is going to make a move here, and it'll be a good time.
Go all in, I would imagine. Yeah.
Because it won't even look too scary. I mean, the fact we can see there's ace queen on the board. With a bet of 3,000, fine, that's easy for me. And it's still a big enough bet that no one's getting involved other than JB. So his nose is going into a heads-up situation. Only an ace would run it. Lucky for him, no one had any diamonds, but they are superb. Just what you want. You've now got 10 times the big blind, and the button's just passed you by. So it's
Yeah, getting a pair of kings on the button when you're that short stacked, that's a nice situation.
And even more important is that somebody else had a hand where they're going to call.
Absolutely.
Because to have that, to be that on the button, he would have still picked up 1,500 if everyone else had folded out to him. But even better, he even manages to double up.
Yeah.
He gets the small blind from Chilling, he gets the big blind from St Elmo, and he gets his chip stack doubled up by J-Beam. So it's a perfect situation. Well, the 9s fall for 2 Ronnies and J-Beam. 2 Ronnies has J-Beam out kickered. 8 versus Jack.
Right, so these final tables are quite interesting, and they do tend to last a little, well, not, I mean, in a sit and go, obviously, it's a full table for the full, you know, for at least the first couple of rounds.
So what's your point? What are you trying to say?
I'm muttering here. I am trying to get a point out. It's
Did you call
nice
this game quite
see.
interesting? It's more than quite interesting.
Oh, pardon me. It's quite interesting.
Well, the good thing is obviously the chip stack to the blinds means that there's a lot more play to be had.
But you've taken my words. That's what I was going to say.
Well, it just seemed like you were struggling. You know, I thought
well,
I
thanks
can
for helping me out there.
Right, do you know what? Next time you sit there going,
let me struggle.
I'm just going to go and do some emails.
Oh, burn me. You just burned me. Look at that. 2 aces on the table.
See,
my words will come. See? It takes a while,
but they do. Not going to say a thing. Good point. There are 2 aces on the table.
I was drawing your attention back to the game.
No, you lost me. I like the 9s personally. No, I think the point you're making, which I then went on to make for you, is this is the good final table because it's lots of chips in play.
What's the good final table?
Lots of history. Well, you know, as in if you're going to sit and watch a single table play down from 8 down to a winner, you know, the end of a multi-table is where it's at because you've got this real diversity in chip stacks. How do people play short stacked? How do people play the big stack? You know, it's interesting. We've seen Quite Tight really playing well with a short stack. We've seen Little Bully really playing very well with a big stack, I think. Everybody else kind of feeling like they're not getting involved. It's this whole kind of, wow, that's not too... I thought he might make himself the straight there. But there you go. Quite Tight. Well, you know, Ace-Jack, you run into Ace-King. You're not going to find anything other than a call there. So we are down to our last 6.
Yeah, so Quite Tight went out there in
tell a lie,
7?
sorry. I'm still counting the guy who's got no chips. So we're actually down to our... Oh, yeah, we are down to our last 6. What am I talking about?
So he went out 7th.
He did.
So what did he make?
He gets himself $50. So he gets 5 times his buy-in. That's not bad for an evening's work.
That's not at all.
If he'd paid 1,000, that would be 5,000. He didn't, and it isn't. But I like to paint a picture.
In the hypothetical realm
hypothetically,
of poker.
if I had 3 legs, I'd run faster.
No, I don't think you would actually.
Actually, I'd be dreadful, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I think you'd fall over.
Raoul. 3.5 grand.
Raoul.
Raoul. I quite like that. I think that's what it says. My eyes again. These contacts are rubbish. Ace 10 suited for chillin' in the small blind.
Chillin' in the house.
Now, what accent was that?
I was being street.
In which country? Hungary?
Oh, stop it. You're making fun of me again. I'm feeling very fragile now.
That's right, I've seen how shiny my forehead is on the screen. I can't take the mickey out of anybody. Ooh, hello, welcome to 4 to the flush. Even if the flush comes, is he going to fancy it with 2? The worst possible part of the flush. Chilling has opted to check round to him. That's great. He says, I'll have another free card. Neither of them are going to believe that either of them have a king.
Nope.
Be interesting to see what Bully does with this, because the fact that Chilling is just checking and checking and checking, I can't believe Little Bully isn't going to try and invest some chips in this. There's 5 grand in the pot. They were happy to bet before the flop. Okay, Chilling gets it with Ace 10 suited.
And there we go. That's a little bit more on the multi-table tournament. We'll come back to that after our break. If you want to send us an email while we're away, please do that. You can send it to us at pokernightlive.co.uk, or you can send us a text message as well. And we would love to hear from you. So let us know. We're going to be going to the news now, let you know what's going on in the world of global poker, as well as here domestically in the UK.
And what will we be doing when we come back from that break?
Oh, joy of joys, we'll be seeing my Beat the Presenter slot. So that'll be fun.
I personally
You're not going to want to miss
wait.
it.
I don't know about you, but I can't wait.
I'm all aflutter. Really, I am. We'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks very much. Hi, and welcome back to Poker Night Live. We're here. It's the third hour of our show, and we're going to be taking a look at our final table of the multi-table tournament. Also, my Beat the Presenter slot. Hopefully talking a bit more about the end game for Texas Hold'em. Heads up, I want to know what you think is the best way to play. Maybe you've got some things that you always do or that you never do. I know that we're looking really for principles, not rules.
Well, we're just looking for people's thoughts, you know. Yeah. The whole beauty of poker is everyone has a different style. Just be interesting to see what some other people's thoughts are. We watched a little bit of Heads Up earlier on.
Which is great.
Made a couple of points about people being a bit too passive, people kind of waiting for a hand and just going all in. We're just interested to know what you guys think.
Yeah, be brave. Commit to an opinion. Come on, you know you want to. Send us an email, send us a text. Let us know what you would do in a really good Heads Up game. What do you think makes it a really good game? Okay? You can send us an email, you can send us a text. Let us know here in the studio. A couple ways to do that. Here come the numbers right now. Text the word poker to the number 84222. That's a new number. Make sure that you take note of that and put the word poker in first. Or send the questions to poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. There you go. And talking about Heads Up, we've got an email about Heads Up, and in fact the Heads Up tournament that we were looking at before. So I'm going to read that to you now.
Would you?
In this portion of the show. Right, it's from Sharky2007. Hi, Sharky2007. He says, hi guys, I agree entirely that I was rubbish in the second game, but was much more interested in watching my first game on TV, so that was my fault. You know what, I can understand. It is kind of distracting, isn't it, seeing yourself playing on TV as you're playing. To be honest, I feel in the first game I pretty much wiped the floor with Alan Thompson. What a name. I bet he wears a beige tank top. Great mental image, I like it. And he did make many more moves, and I did make many more moves with junk, so you were a bit harsh on me there. Cheers. And that's from Sharky. So do you think you're a bit harsh on him? You know,
well, certainly it felt like you were two different people. The first game you watched, you were making lots of moves, and that's why I commented on the second one that everyone was just being very passive. If you were busy watching how brilliant you were in the first part of the program, then fair dues to you. But it's a good point. You have to make moves with junk, because unless you're the luckiest man on the planet and you just keep getting the cards time after time after time, you're going to have to make a move with junk, because that's the way it is. But I think, especially in light of how passive Alan was being, is just a bit more, even because it seemed like even just basically doubling the blinds was enough to like act as an all-in, and you knew as soon as he went all in he had a hand, and then it was easy to avoid. But there you go. Thanks for getting in touch. Good to hear from you. Always nice to hear from the people we're watching. And we'll probably pick up a bit more Heads Up a bit later on, so we'll see how that pans out.
I hope so. Yeah, so Sharky, if you don't think that was fair, or if you think indeed you should have played in a different way, let us know what you think about that. We would love to hear it and read it out so that the viewers understand the whole thinking process behind getting better at poker.
God bless you.
Speaking of getting better at poker, or not, we don't know. It's the Beat the Presenter slot, and that would be me, Great Scott, playing on a $5 tourney on right now. So let's watch that.
Don't be so downhearted.
Yeah.
You don't set us up expecting to see you take it to the money.
Well, you know what? Be honest. Be brutal. I said this to James Browning last week as well. I want to know exactly where I'm going wrong, although I've got to be honest with you, I know where I went wrong in a couple of these hands. I didn't do terribly.
You went wrong by playing on a Beat the Presenter table where everyone wants to beat you, chat you up, bleed you dry by being as tight as a gnat's chuffage.
Yes.
We shall see. We shall see.
Yeah, I had all these, anyways, yes, we shall see. We'll go through it hand by hand and take a look and see what the deal is.
I'm just building up, because every time I do so hideously, I have a huge amount of excuses standing by. So it seems only fair to actually allow you to use those excuses as well.
Much appreciated. These tables are notoriously tight, and I did say at the very outset of the game I was not going to chat as much. Look at there, I've got a pair of jacks.
And what do you fancy doing here? You're in a reasonably late position. Cut off to the cutoff.
Yeah, just limped in.
You're thinking 3 times the blind?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking 3 times the blind.
You're just trying to work out what 3 2s are right now.
I was typing it in. Oh, shut up. I was typing it in. It took me a while. So I'm going 3 times the big blind. That was the thought there. I'm keeping it standard.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing
Early
wrong with
doors.
that.
Wizards out of position with ace-10, but he comes in. 5s comes in, which is kind of
And there's a pair of kings.
loosey-goosey. There is a pair of kings. In fact, it's worse than that. It's kings and 10s.
I know. See, this is max power.
Well, everyone's checked it round to you.
Which meant I thought, okay, I'll put in a continuation bet.
Yep.
They've just checked it. I'll say I've hit the
120.
flop. Well, that's a continuation bet, right?
Yeah.
Half the
Half
pot.
the pot. Yeah, I
Am I-
know. I
okay.
wasn't saying it in any voice. You're very defensive. You're just expecting the worst. I'm really not like that. I say if I was Casper, where I'm brilliant, I just win it all, and I've got lots of big words, then I'd be beating you up. But you know, Jacks, if it was checked round to me, I got the best position in the house. You got Sneaky Chops here, who just thinks, do you know what? I've flopped a monster. I'm going to make you look silly, and now he throws it back at you.
And now
I'm going to smell the rat, and I'm just going to, I'm thinking trips, 10s, pairs. I mean, certainly, it's almost like, even though there's only the king to be scared of, his actions are to be scared of, to check raise you.
Definitely. I've asked a question. In fact, someone even typed it into the chat box. Kerry, you've asked the question.
Yeah. And
you've got your answer.
To fold here leaves you with 820.
Yeah, it's
the
not going
blinds
to
are
kill
10-20.
me.
You're not dead.
It wasn't worth it. Even if he was just trying to bully me, I didn't think it was worth finding out.
And Jack's notoriously tricky to play because you know 57% of the time you will see overcards in the flop.
Yeah. Look at us, we're glad-handing me already. It's like, oh, you did fine. Oh, it's fun.
Oh, were they patronising you? Were they calling you love? Oh, don't worry, love. You did really well for a girl.
Yeah, no, they were really nice. Because I said, oh, I'm glad I got out of that. I had a pair of jacks.
And thanks again to Making Jam
that
offered you his seat. What a gent.
Yes, he said that he was going to win the tournament, so I sure, really, because he stood up so I could sit down in his seat, so it was up to me to win.
So that's his money as far as he's concerned.
Yeah.
Ace-9, the 9 on the flop stays good, and the queen is a bad kicker.
And
slice eye.
Busily making notes about the players at this point.
Gosh, you do know. I'd noticed you making notes.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Very happy to see that. What did you throw away there? It was so fast. It was a blur.
It was rubbish,
Junk.
whatever it was. Yeah, it was complete junk. Whatever it was.
3-4 versus King 6.
Yeah, I put in a note for Max Power that, because he called a fairly good raise, a standard raise, with King 9 out of position. So I thought that was worth writing down in the notes.
Yep, and the fact that he's somebody who's prepared to check raise you is, again, the thing is, it's such sweeping generalizations, and the truth is, if you're a decent player, you know to mix it up.
Right. Yes,
but
of course.
The truth is, the more you play against Max Power, the more you will get a feel for his style. And that's it's a bit like if you play, obviously lots of us will have lots of regular games with friends or like clubs we play. And the games you play against regulars are so much different than sitting down with a random bunch of guys online.
Yeah.
And even if you play in a regular online game where you know people's styles, there's one of those sites at the moment where lots of people are stopping to play on it because they're always bumping into the same people and they haven't got an edge. Everyone knows each other so well.
Yeah.
Now you've been allowed the opportunity to limp in here.
I did.
You're going to be out of position, but there's nothing wrong with it. You hit a piece of it. Luckily for you, really,
it's the bottom pair, and
it's scary enough on the board because if you'd hit the 10 there. Now then.
Now I've got trips, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't think he had a king.
You think?
So I'm thinking
50 in the pot.
Even if he's got a pair of aces, I've got trip 4s.
And I'm thinking 60.
Yeah.
Good old 3 times the big blind, can't go wrong.
Thank you.
Wizard comes back at you.
And I am thinking to myself, what could he have that I don't better? I've got 3. I don't think he's got trips. I really don't. I really don't.
Maybe put him on a something suited for the flush. That's a horrible card to come down for you, but as far as if that was me, that slows me down slightly because that might be one of the hands I put him on.
Yeah.
Well, you're a bit like our chip leader in the multi-table. Luckily, you got to check it down without any kind of... Because if he fires a big question back at you there...
I know. I probably would have put it down.
In light of that board, you got the 4, but that flush... That's exactly the kind of thing I could see him calling a big raise with. Is something like he's limped in with ace-2.
Yep.
Suited.
Suited, yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. And if he had given me that question, I probably would have put it down.
But that's good for you because you got a bit clonked early doors by Max Power and you're back now where you started. You're only a few rounds into it.
Yeah.
10 Jack Queen King for Graham.
So far, not so bad, is it?
No, and at least you laid down the jacks. You know, I can see a lot of people online go, "Oh, all in then."
Yeah.
I play online, I'm all in.
I'm really trying to think about what the other players might have. Look at their chip stacks. Really look at the board, because that's somewhere I've been going so wrong, is not looking at the board and thinking about what other people might have.
Yeah.
And it's such a basic thing, but I'm only just kind of starting to get there.
It's exactly what we're, when we sit on the amateur nights and we really break it down and we say, the first thing is learn your hands. Yeah. Learn what's a good starting hand. Learn that King Jack suited is fallible. Really get to recognise your hand. Next stage, look at the board and see what there could be. Next thing is looking at betting patterns. Yeah. Next thing is thinking about position. Next thing, there's a lot, and it comes in waves. But the fact you lay down the jacks, the greatest skill perhaps, letting go of hands that are no longer winning.
Yeah.
When you believe they're winning, you make some bets with it. As soon as a combination of the cards and people's actions lead you to believe, unless you've got history with them, you know them to be bluffers, you know them to is that the truth is that the ballsy players are always going to represent stuff, and you can't talk yourself, you can't constantly scare yourself out of playing.
No.
But that's where you've got to use a bit of your gut, you've got to use a bit of instinct that says, do I believe this guy or do I not? And we see some great calls on this where really the betting patterns and the cards on the board would make people throw away their hands.
Yeah.
But they have some feeling and they follow it. Wizard has got himself a draw. He's also got himself the 2s on top of the 5s. That's enough outs for him to continue. Early days, 3-4 for you.
Oh, how exciting.
You must be thrilled.
I was so excited. I could barely sit still. As you said, my arms were just flying everywhere during this game.
You were a flailing and a whooping and a hollering.
I know, but all silently.
I know, not as easy as it sounds.
It's really not as easy as it sounds.
King 7, fish on the button. Where is that fish?
Oh, good old fish.
Fish. Eat my ace. No, he says, even if you're stealing, my cards are so poo. You're welcome. Horrible.
I know. Too early a position to even limp in with that, I figure. There's no way.
You've got 5 people behind you to act, some of which are involved in blinds. Now, thank
exactly.
God, there's queens and ace king.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. And I kind of, whenever I say this, I'm always there very quickly to run behind it and come out. But this whole thing about early in tournaments, late in position, if you can limp in there. If you're a few more spaces round, and you think you can limp in, as soon as you meet resistance, we'll get out of it.
Yeah.
Some people say, oh my God, but you've only got 1,000 and you will have committed 40. But the truth is you want to get involved in hands, you want to accumulate chips, and you're going to see lots of other people limping in with rubbish, really. Yeah. As far as your textbook goes, it's going to be rubbish. 3 times a big blind. You know where you stand with
I'm getting a bit predictable. Maybe that's what I need to start mixing it up a bit. But it is nice and standard, that.
The truth is, but again, against most players, most players, sorry about that, my tongue just fell out. Against most players, it gives the message. It says, no one's limping in.
Yeah.
If you want to call me, you need to have a hand. The truth is, the only thing that would be nice to see is doing it when you don't have a hand.
Yeah, I know.
Picking up the blinds that you don't really have. And it's hard because it takes guts and it takes, it's a bit of a risk. We see some of the other guys do it and they run into a hand. But,
yeah.
But,
I'm wary of all the criticism, and I know I shouldn't be. But a lot of our viewers, it is true, I am definitely the novice of the entire presenting and commentating team. And I am quite wary of that.
Better record than me on the Beat the Presenters, but the truth is...
you've only played a couple of times, that's the thing. Right, Ace Queen, here I go. Great Scott.
I think the thing is, more often than not, you'll get into trouble playing straight poker than playing adventurous poker. On these tables where there's a lot of pressure, a lot of scrutiny, everyone being super tight.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that because everyone is super tight, when you do get into a hand with somebody, they've got the goods.
Yeah.
As have you. Yeah. Who was the most lucky with the board?
That's the thing.
And there's a guy I interviewed recently, a guy called David Pomeroy, young high stakes cash player, and his whole theory on tournament success is, I don't make money out of the big hands. I don't make money out of me with my ace king going against your queens, because we both know how fragile it is, and we're not going to put ludicrousness.
Yeah, of course.
I win a tournament by picking up all the blinds that I don't have any right to have.
Yes.
I can. To get paid off when you've got aces, well, that's coming to you.
Right.
What isn't coming to you is picking up the blinds when you're still in late position with 4-10.
Yes. And this is something that when I try to do it, I'm not doing it right. What I need to do it when I'm in the right position with something, at least something that can back it up.
You want to at least have it's a bit like, I mean, again, I kind of don't want to big him up, but when we had Johan came in earlier on and answered my query, you know, the point he makes, if you're going to make a move, you want to have live cards that can stand up interrogation. You want to have cards that are worth fighting over. You know, that 3-6 suited kind of move. If you're going to make moves, don't be too obvious about it. Don't make a move with king something, because you'll get called elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah,
Ace, queen suited. There you go. It's a nice
Someone's
move.
made a bet though, and I'm, you know,
no,
gotta lay it down.
Well, you've got 12-20. You know, you're
but...
12-20. You're on the second level of blinds.
Yeah.
Full table.
Okay, but don't make excuses for me. I mean it. I really do mean it. The only way I'm going to get better is if I know where I'm going wrong. So this is what, and I'm quite serious about this.
I don't see anything wrong so far.
Okay.
The truth is, every time you've laid it down, you've been totally right to do so.
Right.
Either because we can see the cards and we know that there was somebody with stronger hands.
Right. Usually because there was
a combination of the bet pattern and your position has meant. Wow.
So I am trying to think about this, you know.
There's a wowee.
Yeah, it's a wowee.
It's a wowee.
Aces and queens.
Aces and the king jack as well might be tempted. It depends really
how
the aces decide. Do they want to just flat call this and sneak in being under the gun? No, fair dues. All in. It's the scourge of the online player, I think, the all in. I think a lot of value is lost. I mean, it is lucky for queens to call that, because I'm loving my queens. Is he going to hit the flush?
But all in.
Wow, okay, fair dues. Just because you want to get value, the truth is, queens, again, remembering that in a tournament, get it wrong and you're dead. For someone, and this is where all those things we just spoke about, all the different things you have to take into account. Yeah. There's somebody here who is going to be under the gun. I have just made a big move. Somebody going all in is either the ballsiest player in the world who's trying to steal this, or they've got a hand.
But how do you know which is which?
Well, you don't, but the truth is you've got to decide. If it's a cash game, okay, let's see where we are. Yeah. This is a tournament. You get it wrong, you're going to be down to 110 or you're going to be out. Yeah. And in that instance, you know, it's worked for Wizard, so you know, you can't pull Wizard apart. But if Sly Side doesn't have queens, he's going to fold it, and you've got aces there. You want the blinds right now are 20 and 40. Are you right? You just
sorry, he's got 8s and 2s there. See, it's just exciting. And but kings.
That guy's got kings and 8s.
Yeah, he's got kings and 8s now. Yeah.
I'm not going to say. The old whooping was just...
Sorry. That's why they have to turn my microphone off while I'm playing, because between the arms flailing and all that, it's
That's what I was saying.
Bad.
The aces.
Yes.
Is at this stage in the tournament, to make that big move under the gun, if it bullies everyone away, you've won 60. All you picked up is some very small blind and big blinds. Yeah. So for aces, I know you could get outdrawn, but going all in is such a big
when you don't
statement.
Have to. Yeah.
You can make a big raise, and then if you get called, okay, you've got a game on here, you're going to get some value. But I think he's lucky to get called by the queens myself. Yeah. I don't know if in a tournament,
I wouldn't have done.
In the light of somebody who's got the worst position on the table, I've made a raise and he's gone over the top of me all in. He is committing his tournament life on the hand he's holding, or his ballsiness.
I wouldn't want to test it.
The thing is, if I'm up against ace queen, I got a chance of losing here. If I'm up against a bigger pair, which is entirely likely, sorry, it's not totally impossible considering his actions.
Yeah.
It's always horrible if you're trying to make a point, and in fact the way the action went, he doubles up and he makes a big killing. But that's my problem with this whole all-in side of
yeah. You think pot limit would be a better test?
I know pot limit, serves different purposes. Yeah. I like a lot of pot limit, but actually that's more Omaha than Texas. But I like post-flop play. And all these guys, well, there you go. That guy's got queens and he makes a big bet. That guy's got aces. It's all in. There's no post-flop play. It's like you're all in, and now let's hope that the ball doesn't screw me over, or it makes my life better, or whatever it does. None of us have hit the flop. I make a bet, you re-raise. There's no interplay with the chips after that point.
Bit more finesse you're looking for.
Just a bit more movement, a bit more kind of jiggy.
Jiggy jiggy. I like the head movement you do when you say that.
But that's the thing with pot limit, is lots of people get involved in the flop, and then you actually have to outplay each other. It's not just, we both had good cards before the flop, I wonder who's winning now.
Yeah.
Eights for Wizard. Favourite hand of mine. In light of an ace-king board with 2 diamonds, I'd love to see eights win.
Yeah.
Tens. Doubles the blind. He's not the fanatic of 3 times the big blind like yourself. He's just a double the blinds kind of guy.
Yes, and Max Parrott. Actually, no, Sly Side did the 4 times the big blind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
that
true.
didn't work. Yeah.
Well, it's like we say, 3 or 4 times. And again, that's where it depends on your table. Again, come back to a game we watched from very early on when we had a guy in our 6th seat who was a bit mental. So to make a bet into him, the guy sitting there, it was old, wasn't it? And I've forgotten the name, whoever was sitting in front of him, to make any sort of move, it needed to be practically all in just to make the point. So,
yeah, it depends on your table, depends on the people sitting around you and what they're doing. That's why poker is such an interesting game, because you can sit down at a table one night and then the same game, same limit, same amount of chips, same position even on the table, the next night, completely different game.
Roger that, Kara.
Roger that.
Roger that, 10-4, good buddy.
Over and out, big smoky.
Stop it now. We haven't got a convoy and you know that.
Convoy!
Here comes the big blind any minute now. It's Jack 3, another starting, no.
Not an early position.
Graham.
I'd have to be insane.
Graham doubles it. Yeah, no, hey. So
sorry, I am still really defensive.
If I'm smiling, I'm just being silly.
Okay.
You could have gone all in there.
Oh, shut up.
Solve the blind.
I really like this game, and I just want to be better at it, so I get really quite, I don't know, personally offended by the fact that I'm not doing better.
Well, look, you've done better than one player already.
Woohoo!
Your chip stack, you're up in the top 8 players. You know.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm
it's
trying.
funny.
I really am. I always do better when it's not a Beat the Presenter table. If it's just a table where I'm playing under my other name, then, you know, I do so much better. Oh, stop it. I'm not going to make excuses. I am sorry. That's not what I wanted to do there.
No, that's fine. When no one's watching, I'm brilliant. that's my point of view.
Yeah, look, this is where I went all wrong, because he obviously has a king, and I'm thinking he has nothing, and I've got the straight, and oh, I've got the bottom of it.
Well, there's only 200 in the pot. Hoping you're going to ask the question. It says, have I won this hand? Which is just over betting the pot. That's okay. And you just
I didn't win that hand. I asked the question, and the question was answered succinctly.
I'm surprised he didn't raise you there, to be honest. But
I'd have gotten out of it. He probably knew that.
yeah.
But ouch! But
Yeah.
I was actually chatting to someone in the chat box at the time, and I wasn't thinking. As soon as I hit the raise button, then I thought, oh, crap. I bet you he came in with a king something else. Oh, well. You know what? Live and learn.
The thing is, the worst, it's horrible, because the problem is you got a hand, but you haven't got the nuts.
Yep.
You know, you've got a decent hand, but you've got the bad end of what anybody could have.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Those are community cards. What I needed to have looked at was the fact that they are community cards.
And you're also in the horrible position where even if you check, he's probably going to bet, and that could either be a bet because he's got a hand, or it could be a bet out position because you've shown the weakness to get right to the end and check it down.
Yeah.
There's nothing he has to fear.
No, not very well played on my part. So
all he has to fear is fear itself.
Yes, nice quotation. Nice quotation. When I was looking for poker
she's got a quote
information,
to everybody.
I do.
That rustling of paper, you're in
That's
for another
what I mean.
Amarolo Slim.
This one's quite funny actually. I was looking for information on poker, and I was looking up on Wikipedia, which is an interesting little website. Yes, and I typed in poker, and the first thing that came up was, this article is about the card game. For domestic fireplace tool, see Fireplace Poker. And I like that. So I'm sorry, if anyone's watching this show, Poker Night Live, hoping for the fireplace tool, I apologize, none of that here.
That's a different channel, Fireplace Poker Night Live.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The domestic fireplace tool, you will see none of it.
What a beautiful domestic fireplace tool.
I know, I thought it was quite funny.
It's a Mark Bannon. Heads down, everyone. It's a 7-8 offsuit.
I know, but there's no way. Someone's made a bet.
There's no way anybody really plays that hand.
I just can't bring myself to do it anymore.
No.
I did it a few times.
It was
just
funny
to see
for a
what would
while,
happen.
until you lost $1,000 online just
Yeah.
to try and take a screenshot to make Mark happy. Do you know what, mate? I wanted to give you some sort of backup on the 7-8 thing, but...
This is where, okay, I'm
King
stupid.
10, it's a bad position.
I've got less than 10 times big blind. I've got bad position.
I don't.
And I know,
Ace
stupid.
10 is dubious, to be honest. King 10.
Stupid. And as soon as I did it again, I just thought,
I mean,
what
the thing
am
is,
I
Ace
doing?
8, Ace 2, suited. There's.
So stupid.
What? I mean, the thing is, you weren't the lowest chip stack on the table there.
No.
Is this the end of you?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, it really is.
King 10.
That's so embarrassing. That really is so embarrassing. Wow. Oh, that's so bad.
So.
Say goodbye to Great Scott.
Do you
Bye
know
bye.
what? I mean, the thing is,
rubbish.
you've played a solid game there.
And then I just lost it.
You've done one really good laydown early on with those jacks.
Yeah.
You made the bet. You got the re-raise. You know you're so easily beaten. You got out of it. That was great.
Why was
you
I
picked
being
up
stupid?
one. You didn't lose too much. You made a slightly over the pot size bet on your bottom end of the straight, which just got straight called. I mean, again with that hand, the fact that you bet that much might be what induces him to just call. If you make it any less or you make it any more, maybe he'd push it.
Really? I thought it would push him off it. I just thought they'd all fold around to me.
No,
but
what I mean is knowing that he had a damn fine hand.
Right.
Is maybe because I can't work out why he only flat calls you. Maybe it's because it's a big enough bet that he's thinking, well, hang on a minute. I don't really understand his call. I understand your
queens?
move. No, sorry.
I'm sorry. No, we're going back to the straight.
Your straight. When you had that straight,
gotcha.
I'm mystified. Your actions make sense to me. There was something 240 in the pot, and you made it 260 or something.
Yeah.
Which is not very hard to fathom. His flat calling of that when he had the straight with the king, I'm not understanding. But other than that, I mean,
I just lost it. That was a terrible move. I'm so sorry.
I know the whole 10 times the big blind, but the difference is, if you were on a table, imagine you were down to the last 4. Yeah. And you only had 10 times the big blind, and everyone else had 30 times the big blind.
Right.
But comparatively, you had loads of action there. In fact, we can see, we've got a different monitor here showing that state of play. So you actually had more chips than a number of players, or you were very close to comparable with people like Max and Eat My Ace, who really had only a couple hundred more than they started with.
I know, it's really silly, considering I only had, what did I have? Maybe my maths are wrong. I had 5 times the big blind.
What did you actually end up going all in with?
Oh, what was it again? Because my maths are probably wrong, so let's just.
Well, I thought you were just around you were just under 1,000, weren't you?
Yeah, and let's see, and so okay. So 10 times the big blind is 1,600, and I had 800.
Oh, okay.
So I had half. I had 5 times the big blind. Yeah. So I was, you know what? I should have looked more at the table rather than.
Well, that's the thing is Fish had 820, NWO Steve had 875.
Rubbish.
No, you know.
It really makes me angry when I play badly. I read all this, I highlight, I do the research, and then I still play rubbish. Anyways, next time.
The truth is, no, do you know, I say that I did something similar in one of my games. I got an ace 10. I just sick of throwing stuff away or being out, you know, somebody before me making a move and just stealing my thunder. Yeah. And you think, do you know what, this is my hand. This is it. And you're all in, which is, again, me sort of backing out that whole online thing. I think there's a lot of people, you know, it's the same online. It doesn't feel real. A lot of people are just like, yeah, I'm all in. I did it. Do you know, I had a dreadful day the other day playing some cash stuff. And you get to a point you're like, just put it the money in.
I know.
Just either sort me out or get me out of this.
Oh.
Because, but King 10, I mean.
I know, but I had 5 times a big blind. I was really, that is exactly what my thinking was. King 10, 5 times a big blind. Seriously, stupid thinking, but that's what it was. There you go. And you know what? Someone on the crew, while I was coming in 7th, came first in a tournament. Nice.
That must have made you feel good.
Great.
Well,
next time, I'm playing again tomorrow night on Be the Presenter. So everyone, you know,
you on tomorrow?
I'm sure you can see me do the same. And that's the other thing I'm worried about. People who watch me and then play against me over and over again really don't think much of my table image, I have to say. And I don't know quite how to fix that. Right, this is something I'm going to be thinking about.
But again, I would say, I don't know, I still think you're beating yourself up too much. That last move is the only thing I think was really quite awful. Yeah,
but considering it knocked me right out of the tournament, it's pretty awful. All right, we'll leave it at that. Let's see how it finishes off.
You've just lost all interest in this now.
No, I haven't at all. I wish them all well. Ace king there, suited, and Graham.
Godspeed.
Godspeed to all of you. And to all a good night.
Yeah, see, anyone familiar? I was just looking up, I was forgetting which group, the Sklansky grouping of hands, you know, that's a real negative value hand, the King 10,
King 10.
kind of group 5. You're up there with the strength of things like Queen 9 and 10-8 and 8-7 suited and stuff like that, which in that position aren't all in hands, you know, it's...
Wow.
King 10.
I think, you know what, again, one more excuse. I'm trying to figure out where I've gone wrong.
I think we're all excused out.
No, I'm trying to figure out where I've gone wrong. Therefore, I'm working through my thinking on this. The last time I played, last week, I was absolutely rubbish. And I got to the end of the game, or my game anyways, and I just couldn't find a hand to push all in with. And I was getting lower stacked and lower stacked and lower stacked. Don't hurt yourself there. You keep smacking yourself around. It's me beating myself up. I kept getting so much lower stacked. And then someone actually made these remarks about, oh, Kara's doing a chip in a chair, look it, oh. And it really stung.
Yeah.
And so I think I was going, okay, I've got 5 times the big blind, I need to make a move. King 10, suited, I'm pushing all in. Stupid, yes. Granted, yes. Stupid, yes. But that was my thinking. So this is what I need to combat, is that kind of thinking. I need to overcome.
Yeah, you just don't want to panic too early.
Okay. Pooh. That's my...
Well, I mean, do you know, but to your credit, you didn't do what many other presenters do, which is fire up another one.
I so wanted to.
Never mention the first game, which I'm quite honest, the other night when I had a dreadful game, I fired up another one to see if I could get something more interesting, even though I came fourth in that, trying to just find something interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
There are some of the presenters that will do that without telling you, so that you only ever see them win. And they won't tell you otherwise.
Okay.
Ace Queen's all in. Well, in fact, no, he isn't all in. He's kept 30 back.
Just in case.
Don't really know why you do that. If you like it enough to put £7 million in, keeping £2.60 back, only an 8. No, I'm afraid that's not an 8. That's a 2.
That's a 2.
Whoever pulled the lever marked 8s.
Did not happen.
Not doing a very good job there. We're down to the bubble. We've got Fish, who was on exactly the same amount of chips as that when you were on the exactly same amount of chips. He's still with us. He's still a few blinds down, but he's still there. Although he hasn't got a hand as good as 10 King. Eat my ace.
Well, he's also not up
there,
against
he throws away. He's got
a
third of his chips invested in that.
Yeah.
But he's going to wait. King 8 would be better for him than the last hand. It's no King 10, obviously.
No.
Now he's going to double it up, makes it look like he's interested. King 8.
Oh boy.
Sadly, he's bumped into an ace that's also hit this 6.
Yeah.
Only the King or the 8.
No.
Neither of which, whoever's putting the lever really isn't on fire tonight.
No, I tell you.
Fish, sadly, is a bubble boy.
Oh, sorry, Fish.
So, was this a $2 or $5 game?
5, I believe.
$5 game. So, we have top prize, 50% of the prize pool, 30% and 20%.
Yeah, none of which I got. So the
I wasn't going to mention that, but you're right. You got
the what is it? A children's charity that we give the winnings to? All of that, you know, the poor children get nothing.
That was
Thanks,
a chocolate
guys.
egg for Tiny Tim.
Oh.
No turkey for Tiny Tim.
No turkey for Tiny Tim.
Sorry. Have you got my present, mister? Sorry. Kara blew it all on gambling.
Oh,
she was busy.
Knife in my
showing you the strength. Well, the lesson tonight is the strength of King 10 in mid position when you don't need to go all in.
Because that's a lesson people need, right? That's a lesson I needed. Lesson learned.
Stop beating yourself up. All right, that's an order.
All right, then.
The rest of the game was very good. The rest of your moves are very strong.
Thanks.
The most impressive bit was the letting go of hands that had loads of potential, look really tasty. Ooh, look super.
Yeah.
Somebody betting, you're paying attention to the betting, you're paying attention to the board. A lot of people don't. They get attached to they look at their jacks or whatever it is, and they go, I've won this hand, and they ignore all the information. Yeah. They go, I've got so much money invested in this, I'm just going to keep going with it. And as they run off the edge of the cliff burning with a smile on their face, at least you let go of that.
I know.
The burning man.
Because that was just painful. No, one of the other players, Buffy Be Good, in fact, one of our regulars, did type in the chat box, You've asked the question, Kara.
Yep.
And I was getting ready to fold. I just wasn't going to fold straight away.
And you know, it's funny because of how many shows we do and how many shows we have done in the history of Poker Night. There are certain mantras. There's Casper's, you know, no rules, just tools. There's the whole Nick Welthall's, the if you meet resistance. There's the if you ask, ask questions with your bet. And there's the whole take initiative.
Yeah,
but those are the reason they're like the poker cliches, because they're the important lessons. Those are the key things, and that's what you do. You don't bet because you want to win more money. You bet to
ask that question,
to
see
find out where you are.
Information.
It's like, bang, they'll fold. I was right. I had the strongest hand. Someone calls. Okay, they're still chasing something. They want to invest money in. They re-raise. I might have been bullied, or this guy's got me killed.
Yeah.
You know, and that's when then all the other factors, your history, your how much notice you've paid to his previous game.
Yeah.
Eat My Ace is going to call that. The Jack hits, which is dreadfully annoying for Eat My Ace, because whenever he's got the Ace Jack, it never hits. Oh. 19 Jack Queen, no. just seeing if there was anything else interesting there. 3 diamonds, 4 straight, no. And everyone pretty much equal on chips. They Eat My Ace with a slight lead, which Max Power is now chewed. 7-4 suited.
Nope.
Wow.
King
Blinds.
Ace, yeah.
Look at the blinds now. 640, 1280.
Quite high.
Well, Graham really he has to go all in. There's no real getting out of it. 7-9 is likely to at least be live cards. 7-9, 7-9, or perhaps a king.
Just to grind that in even.
Yeah, just in case you weren't sure that you'd lost. Let me make your already winning opponent even stronger than he was.
Yeah.
So well done though, fella. You're in the money. 20% of said spoils go to you.
Very nice indeed.
$20.
And here we go, heads up.
Heads up.
As I've been asking this
considering
question.
the first move of heads up is for Eat My Ace to go all in, Max has got him covered, but is prepared to give him 1,280 in chips and give him the chip lead. 4-5 suited, live, it's happening. Ace-10 suited, all in again. Max goes for it with the ace. Only a 2 now. Aces and 7s with a 10. The kicker, all important. Well done, Eat My Ace.
Well done.
Well done, Max Power as well. Still second place. Still in the cash.
In the cash. Well done. Hope you enjoyed that humiliating display of poker.
Not at all, not at all.
And now we, we're just going to move on swiftly and stop talking about it and take a look at the MTT.
So we left this on our final table, as I recall. Still rolling. Little Bully is our chip leader.
Yep, so we haven't really missed anything, just so that you know. That is why the chip stacks remain where they were before.
Technology.
Oh, it's amazing.
We called them all up and said, can you stop playing for a minute?
Yeah, thanks. Have a cup of tea.
Kara wants to show us how good she is.
Yeah, Kara's on telly. Oh, well.
At least your mum's watching.
Yeah, that doesn't help somehow. Oh, well. Considering I did teach my nieces and nephew how to play poker when I was at home in Canada, and my 8-year-old niece did beat me. It just kind of, insult to injury is what comes to mind there. Oh, well.
Yeah.
She's very precocious.
That's all right. I got beat at Tekken on the PlayStation by a 2-year-old once. Just basically jumped up and down on the buttons. And even though I knew every single move, there's really no strategy against somebody who can't even spell strategy.
Nope, there really isn't.
Professionals and amateurs, don't play either of them. Solitaire.
Ever. That's the way to go. Solitaire.
Little Bully, apart from the 2 runners with his 10 queen on the button, who might be tempted to have a push here. Nope, he decides not to. Raoul wants the limp, and Bully's probably going to take it. Unless he wants to make a positional raise. Kind of traditional when somebody limps in. However, with an ace in his hand, unlikely to let it go. And of course now Raoul has no idea what Bully has, because he doesn't know if that raise was about his hand or the raise was about his position. Now Little Bully makes the continuation bet in light of Raoul's limp. Textbook stuff. But it's very easy to say when you're watching it, but when you're playing it, even though you know what's going on, it's almost like it'd be nice if we could switch off the cards.
Just to watch what they do.
Yeah. And Casper tries to do it, and it's a good exercise to do. Say, ignore that we know what the cards is, let's just watch the betting patterns. The button raises, small blind folds, big blind has a decision to make, yada, yada, yada. But you can't help but see, well, you know what his cards are.
Yeah.
And when you come to do that game yourself, obviously it's your account, it's your money, it's your tournament life, is that even if you know the guy is bound to make the raise, because I've limped him on a small blind,
you still think,
I still think, well, if I re-raise, if he knows what I'm doing, he's going to re-raise me, and you end up just kind of out-thinking yourself. I like to go to bed at that point.
It's a good idea.
A pair of tens for Bully, he's got position. He'll 5, 6, 7, 8. The up and down straight, he's got 8 outs, any 4, any 9, which that'll be one of. So now Bully, not thick, will know where he is, but the bets are small. There's 16.5 in the pot, which is as big an amount as Chilling has. 7 grand more.
Pair of tens, very nice.
To win 16 is trying not to give him the yard. I mean, Bully really. 13.5 grand there. 30.5 should I say, not 13. And Chilling will be more than happy with that.
I'll say.
Glad he made that call. You have to be prepared to chase a few things. You can't just play when you've got made hands.
Right. It's just knowing when to do that.
Well, again, you've got the pot odds. You understand the pot odds. You know, it's the odds of you making a hand versus the odds you're getting. Where was he there? He was chasing the straight on the river, so he's 4.1 to 1. So as long as he's getting 4.1 to 1. Oh, no, that was on the turn, so he's 1.9 to 1 to get yada, yada, yada. But you still got to go, okay, I think I'm getting value for this call. Do I want to? In a cash game, super easy. Well, I'm getting the odds to call. I've got to call it because I know in the long run,
Yeah.
In a tournament, I don't want to go home yet.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I think that can be quite dangerous in a cash game. If I did play cash games, which I haven't yet, I would go out, reload, come back, because I want to play. I really enjoy it. So
True.
I need to not chase bad money. That's what I need to stop doing.
But that's where you have to also acknowledge what your style is.
Right.
Because a lot of people that go from tournament play, and let's be honest, a lot of people coming to poker today do come in at the tournament level, because that's what they're seeing here, that's what they see on the TV shows, etc., etc. And that's mostly, people get together for a social game. You don't get together for a cash game. You get together, everyone put a couple of quid in, winner takes all.
Exactly.
And people that go from tournament play to cash games, you can identify because they are so timid, because they are used to self-preservation, where they don't want to be the first out. It's like, in a cash game, being first out doesn't mean anything. Just because you've taken your chips down to nothing, well, you come back in and then you work on that profit. And that's where, in a cash game, you can look at your variance hand by hand. In a tournament, it's got to be tournament by tournament, and that's a much bigger variance over a much bigger period of time. So in a cash game, I chase the straight because I was getting the odds to, and I don't hit. Next time I chase and I hit, because I'm playing to those odds, it makes it a profitable play. In a tournament, you chase it and miss it.
Yeah.
Hat, coat, socks, pants.
Oh, but it's so painful.
You love that.
It's so painful. Yeah. Usually, if I go out too early in a tournament, I go off, I find another tournament to play, which can be quite bad. I think I need to stop, sit back from the computer and just kind of, breathe, okay, and breathe.
That's why I like to multi-table, and there's all these discussions about the merits or not, but that's why I like to have a cash game going, because I can find cash games a grind, and I need to be doing something else, otherwise I'm going to play a cash game like it's a tournament.
Yes.
And that will hurt me. So what I like to do is have a cash game and a couple of tournaments going. That's about 3 games is good for me. And then if you get knocked out of a tournament, that's fine. You turn your attention to another tournament because you've got another one that you're invested. Might have a real deep multi-table tournament going at the same time as some snappy little 2-table thing. Just, you know, because that way it's not like, this is my life, this is my game, I've been knocked out, pounding of fists, flailing and gnashing, much like you
what
displayed.
What are you talking about then?
like a small washing machine.
Yeah, not like my washing machine, which is broken at the moment. But yes, I know what you mean. Absolutely. I wish it would flail and thrash, but not so much with the flailing and the thrashing.
It was actually gnashing, so you don't really want any gnashing at all.
No.
And Kablooey, Chilling flopped himself trip 7s. The jacks probably looked attractive. Shame about the ace, because Chilling probably could have got a bit more money out of Alba, but Alba might not let this go. It's 40.5 grand in. Alba Sack might feel that he's committed to this and he can't be scared off by the prospect of an ace. The ace is actually the last thing you need to be worried about. Alba Sack's going to have a think about this. If he dumps it, no, he calls it. He's down to 6 grand.
Ouch.
He could have thrown that way and still had 12 grand, which is over 10 times the big blind. He chose not to. Sevens for little Bully, who's come down considerably, but still has some chips to fight with, but Chilling is now our chip leader. C8.
Oh, how things change.
The fickle blur poker is.
The fickle blah, 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 blah. You have a way with words.
I could not have put it better myself.
Oh.
And just remember this. Blah, 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 blah.
I'm glad you're the expert.
There's one thing you take home with you tonight. Sevens are still looking strong. A 9 or an ace would ruin his day. 6 outs. Going to make it too expensive to chase. And that's the way you do it.
And that's the way the chips are falling. May all your cards be jokers and aces and whatnot. And there you go. That's our multi-table. We will come back to that, obviously. But we do have a few emails we'd like to go to right now. So are you prepared, expert?
Yes.
No, he wasn't. He really wasn't.
Yes, I am. I was just writing down that may all your cards be jokers and things.
Blah, 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 blah.
Blah,
Thank
blah,
you,
blah.
yes. Right, this one is from Jeff Norris.
Hello, Jeff Norris.
Hello, Jeff. Nice to have your email. Thank you very much. It says, hi, Karen, Matt. Regarding heads up, as Matt commented on earlier, I laid down ace-king during the sit and go, so I'm fairly tight during the tournament. But when it gets down to heads up, just about anything goes in my book. As by that time, in a sit and go, the blinds are usually very high, and you don't have the option for waiting for a good hand. In a cash game, or if the blinds are really low, you can be more selective, so it depends on the situation. But in both situations, you have to play far more aggressively than you would normally. Keep up the very good show. Cheers. That's Jeff Norris, a.k.a. Gan241. And thank you so much, Gan. It's always a pleasure watching you play. And so aggressiveness, I think that's the basic tenet to take away there.
Yeah, but I mean, the point he makes, which is totally true, which is, to be honest, the heads up that we get to on our single table tournaments is probably not a really great example of heads up, because unless there's been a huge amount of carnage early doors, by the time we get down to our heads up situation, the blinds are normally up at 1200 and most people are just sitting on not enough chips to really play constructive heads up. So I think that the truth is, the heads-up tournaments we've watched for the first time tonight and the end of the multi-table is really the place to comment on people's play. To have picked up on that one that Gan spoke about is absolutely right. By the time, well done, you got down to heads-up, you're in the money. To expect a proper heads-up game at that stage really isn't the way that those sit-and-goes play out. But you have to be prepared to actually know how to play heads-up in case you do get to that situation. You quite often see 3 or 4 people die early in the tournament. Oh my God, you're in down to heads-up and there is time and chips to play with. But thanks for getting in touch. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks very much. Right, we have a text now from Jason, and Jason says, hi, great show. I've won a seat in a tournament in the Bahamas. Okay, first of all...
We hate you.
We do. We hate you very much. He says it's going to be 400 people. Any tips to help me out? Thanks. One tip for you. I've got one for you. Don't forget the sunscreen. Seriously, burning is bad.
It's a good tip. The truth is, make sure you know what the blinds are and slow down. If you've qualified for this online, you're playing probably online structures. When you get to a live tournament, if it's going to be 90-minute blinds, don't play it like it's an online tournament. Don't run and speed and all in. Slow down. Also, if you have the opportunity to get any live experience, if you don't have, I mean, you don't say this, I'm just kind of thinking about what normally are the problems for online qualifiers that go to a live tournament. If you've not got live experience, get some now. Don't go out there and be knocking chips over, acting out of turn, embarrassing yourself in many different ways. Get some live experience under your belt, because the last thing you want to do is get to this chance of a lifetime and be like hilariously Mr. Bean knocking drinks over. You want to sit down and just be focusing on the cards, not how does this work and what do I do. And it's the key thing that the online players will do is act out of turn, not make the right bets, because online it's all done for you. A nice big button appears saying fold, check, do this. You can't act out of turn, you can't get the amounts wrong. So get some live practice in. Other than that, just the fact you qualified lets me know that you're not a donkey. So just slow down and be aware that it's not going to change every 15 minutes. It's probably going to change every hour, every 90 minutes. Take your time and make the best of the opportunities. But other than that, most importantly, let us know how you get on.
Ooh,
we
yes.
do all hate you, but we also want to know how you get on, because we hope you do really well and we'll expect our cut. I think credit cards, I'm more of a cash man. But
but just anything and everything. And if you could bring me back a stick of rock, that would also be really good for me.
Good to know you're not a donkey. They won't be taking you for kiddie rides along the beach in the Bahamas.
Exactly, and what a great place to be. I wouldn't mind getting knocked out of the tournament. I'd be going, all in. Oh,
gonna go surfing. Yeah.
Taxi for Mr. Broughton.
Wow, you spoke from the heart there. I kind of wonder if you did have a Mr. Bean incident in your own past. I'm not gonna, you know, make you talk about it.
Perhaps
maybe
after the break you'd like to ask me again, because I do have a rather amusing Mr. Bean moment to share with you.
Do ya? I think I might have to ask you after the break then. But we're gonna go to the news now, so make sure that you stay tuned, because there's lots more after the break. We got more poker coming up and the end of our multi-table tournament as well. A bit more heads up. We'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks very much. Hello and welcome back to Poker Night Live. I'm Cara Scott. With me is Matt Broughton, and together we make up the team of expert and novice that are taking you through Texas Hold'em poker in all of its many varieties. We've had heads up, single table, multi-table. Not had a cash game yet, but that's that's okay because we're focusing. The presenter. We have done.
Featuring King 10, tonight's featured hand, King 10.
Yes, I know, King 10. And as you were saying in the break, I've now had the personal experience with King 10 that teaches me the lesson that no book I've ever read would be able to, which is, ouch, King 10 mid-position is just not a really good idea.
No, calling, no, raising, no, going all in, crazy.
Okay, but I did only have 5 times the big blind, and I know it was still crazy, and I'm making excuses. I was just playing crap. I am sorry.
No, we all learned something tonight.
Yeah, didn't we, though?
Yep.
Right, let's start with an email. Do you want to read one there?
Yep, I will. We had an email from JagXJ8. Hi to you both. Great show as ever. Thank you very much. And great tips on how to play and improve your game. Thank you also. Can you please give me your opinion on Super and Extreme Turbo sit and goes? I seem to do okay at these, but most of the time I feel it is luck when the blinds are large. Do you gain any useful experience from these games that can be used in normal sit and goes or in cash games? To take the question backwards, I don't really think there's much that you learn out of the turbos and the super extreme turbos. And these are games where, if you're not familiar with them, the blinds are going up at ludicrous. Every 3 minutes, the blinds are going up. You have 5 seconds to make your choice. Everything about it is like bang, 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 bang. It's for people basically sneaking in a game of poker in lunchtime. Can you learn anything from these to go to normal sit and goes or in cash games? I don't think so. I treat the super extreme games very lightheartedly. Do them for fun, do them for a quick fix of poker, but I don't think you really get to exhibit much decent poker. You can't re-raise a guy or represent the flop because everyone's so busy going, quickly make a move before it folds my hand, that it's very much either a case of somebody gets a good hand or it's people rolling the dice. As far as my opinion on them and you saying that you feel their luck, the only thing that you can perhaps use them for is to practice your aggressive play. If you sit down and think, right, I'm going to be Mr. Aggressive for this game, the turbos are the place to do it because that's the winning way to play super extreme turbos. You can't sit in that game and wait for ace-king, ace-queen, pairs of aces, pairs of this, pairs of... because the game is over before you had 6 hands. So if you're thinking, I'm going to play a game where I'm never going to call, I either fold or I raise and I make big moves, that might be the place to try it, because if you try that within the context of a normal game, you're probably going to just run into a rock who just waits for a big hand and knocks you out, whereas in the turbos, you don't have that luxury of time. So I think mostly treat them as a fun way of having a quick blast at poker, and only approach those games if you're prepared to be aggressive, because you won't have the time to sit around and wait for the normal hands. You might do so. Thank you.
Very well said indeed. Okay, now very excitingly, we have a bit more of a higher level sit and go. We have a $30 sit and go to go to.
Good Lord.
I know, and now I'm all aflutter.
Whatever next?
Ooh, let's take a look.
Look, see how we all settle down. You see that? Let's have a look and we all kind of settle down.
Oh, grab your cup of cocoa.
Pull the blanket round your shoulder. Let's have a look at this. And here's Earl, our friend. In fact, a couple of friends here from earlier on. Johan, who I thank again for buzzing up and letting us know about that move with the 3-6.
And Making Jam, who I thank again for letting me sit down in his place. I'm sorry, I didn't do it more justice. Next time.
And Earl, who we thank for making a game earlier on much more exciting by being crazy. And the Magic Shep for just having a good name.
That's a great name.
And of course, El Pig.
El Pig.
Or as he's known in Mexico, El Puercos. El Puercos Diablo.
Oh, that makes me laugh. That's very funny. And Aunt Sally, of course.
Aunt Sally.
Cup of tea and a slice of cake.
Oh, you know what? I think Aunt Sally picked a nice innocuous name to throw people off.
Yeah.
Really, I think it's a man, and I think he's incredibly...
Hairy?
Yes.
Is that the word you're actually about to say?
Testosterone-y.
Oh, I wonder what you were going to say for that.
Yes.
Well, look, here's a real... this will be a battle of aggression. Ace-4, both of them have the low pair with the best possible kicker. Earl, he makes a move. Well, that's interesting from Death Jack there. Two overcards to be scared about. The flush possible. Now a straight possible. Earl now slowed down, checks whereas he made the move before. And remembering this is a more expensive tournament, so everyone gets 2,000 to start with. So that's why you're seeing more chips across the table. 600. Again, at least these guys aren't just going all in. You know, 600 is as scary as all in.
Yes, but you're not risking your tournament life.
Exactly, because what if the guy does call and goes on to develop something? And that's the point I'm making about this worry about all in, all in, all in. If I want to scare the life out of you, you've got 300 invested in the pot. I make it 1,000.
Yeah.
That's pretty scary. I make it 2,000. Don't need to put 14 grand in.
Yeah.
Because what if
I've
been tricked by this guy? What if his mental and it's time for tea and he just calls and then he hits some miracle runner?
Yeah, see, that's why I did the all-in in my game, was to kind of illustrate that point for you, because I felt it needed to be driven home.
Sorry, I wasn't making that point to have a dig. Seriously, I think you've suffered. The good thing is you're so hurt by that 10 king that you will never misplay 10 king again.
Yeah, I did stomp off in a huff there during the break.
You did. You went flailing and gnashing once again.
I know, big Kermit the Frog arms everywhere.
Stomping, her boots are broken. She smells like feet.
Oh, you didn't just say that on television.
I absolutely did not.
No, don't smell like feet.
Queens and 4s versus 9s and 4s. Made it into a little song for you there.
Oh.
Aunt Sally takes it down, goes up to 3,190.
Well done, Aunt Sally.
Death Jack and Magic Shep. Sadly, we see the back of El Pig before I came up with any amusing Mexican Bandito variants.
El Pig.
El Puercos.
El
The pick of the
Diablos.
pork. A porkicopia. Ace Jack gonna get into trouble for making jam, considering Johan has Ace King. And as suggested, Ace King not too shy about getting involved. Ace Jack gonna have to really think. Nyeh.
Yeah, you would do, wouldn't you?
I know that's not much of a noise, but nyeh makes a call.
Goodness.
Ace Jack is just not strong enough. You're gonna need a jack now. You're gonna need a jack.
Nyeh.
And that isn't a jack, is it?
That's not a jack.
Making jam. Yeah. Ooh,
I'm sorry. I wish that you'd done better, just
the
because...
thing there is also he's covered. It's not like he's calling with chips to spare. This is somebody saying, do you fancy potentially getting knocked out this tournament? And you going, is Ace Jack a hand strong enough that I want... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What hand... I've got a gun. What hand do you fancy? I fancy aces. I fancy kings.
Yeah.
Fancy queens. Ace king. Anything other than that, to go out of the tournament... Can you fancy it?
No, it's just embarrassing.
And what are the blinds? 2014. How many chips have you got left if you fold? Thousands. Oh. No, well, I'm not directing this at you. Why are you torturing yourself here, woman? No. Let it go. It's just a game. It was $2.
Oh, I think you'll find it was $5, but it wasn't my money, so let's move on.
It was the kids' money.
It was.
That Tonka truck. Is my Tonka truck here? No.
Aces.
Don't try and
change the subject.
Move over my child torturing.
It's awful.
Death Jack has just watched his fellow player die hideously with Ace Jack.
Yeah.
Now, Johan is going to love this. He's got position. He's also got the potential to be outdrawn if a king comes down and gives Death Jack a straight.
Oh boy, yeah.
Now Death is slowing down because Johan called. Oh, Johan's sneaky, but see, this is a problem with slow playing aces.
Yeah.
Now, if a king comes down, if a club comes down, Johan's hand. Johan had hand. And now Johan's going, oh, hang on a minute.
Yo, hand.
He's actually stood up.
Phew.
But that's the problem with aces. You let people in. It's really hard. I was trying to, I'm doing a script for a video game, and there was trying to write a tutorial. and it's really hard to succinctly say what you should do with aces. Well,
in this situation,
you've got the best hand, so you really want to make money here. So raise up brackets, but that might scare everyone else. So don't raise too much brackets, but don't let anyone limp because they might outdraw you brackets. And it's like that's the problem is, do you want to take the money now? It's like those old quiz shows. That's yours. Right now, you're officially winning.
Yeah, deal or no deal.
Do you want... I'm not saying that actually, but I know of it. You know, do you want to just take this money now safely, isolate, you know, up against... Heads up, you're going to win this 4 out of 5 times. Do you want to let people in and maybe win it 3 out of 10 times, but on those 3 occasions make more money? That's a great cash theory, but in the tournament, you're going to get knocked out. Hat, coat, pants, socks. You remember the theory.
Yep, hat, coat, pants, socks, off you go.
It's the 4 corners of the poker tournament theory. Nobody wants that.
No.
Nobody wants that.
We don't want that.
Earled, 5-4, been a bit quiet for the last few hands, but not really having a position or any hands to jig with. And it's very much the problem if you're not getting the hands and you're not ever getting position, then you're kind of just stuck there. I had this question came in. I had one of my early beater presenters out of the 3, and that was just what happened to me every time. I didn't have a hand for the whole damn game. But even when I thought, here I'm going to make a move positionally, somebody else steals your thunder.
Yeah.
And that's where Earl is at the moment, is not getting the hands, and when he looks like he's going to make a move, somebody gets in there before him and he has to let it go.
Yep.
Death Jack gets his kings, he doubles the blind up to 160. Earl says no, and he takes 120 in blinds. 3 players down, still only 40-80. 3rd level here.
Now, we haven't had nearly as many suggestions about heads-up play from the viewers as I really thought we would. I thought that this would get people going, but it doesn't appear to have. A couple of good ones, and I'm going to keep them.
Yeah,
and maybe try this again on another night.
I've just seen you keeping that.
Yeah, I'm going to just send some of these to my own email address and look at them.
It would be interesting. I'll tell you who would be very interesting to talk to is Mr. Mark Bannion.
Yes, okay.
Because he has famously and televisedly done very well in heads-up competition, and you will hear him forever talk about his heads-up with devilfish.
Ah, yes.
As Lindsay has indeed had her very own heads-up with devilfish, but that's a matter of historical record. But Mark will talk to you about heads up until your legs fall off, frankly.
Okay, well, hopefully I'm on with him again soon, because that is definitely something I'm interested in at the moment. I believe as well I'm on Sunday night with our very own Dr. Tom. So Dr. I believe Tom, he probably has some very good advice for me.
I mean, that's the thing is, you know, Casper is fantastic for the cash stuff.
Yep.
Tom has a huge amount of, obviously, tournament experience. And Mark's probably the only one I would single out as a real specialist in heads up, as far as I know.
Yeah. Wow, we might need to get him to email in then.
I just drink tea and talk rubbish.
But you're an expert at it.
Yeah.
That's why we love you.
Well, there's King 2 standing up for Johan. No one really in any trouble because the blinds are so fresh, so young, so tiny, teeny. 40-80. No real impetus to go all in with 10 King.
Just for example, if you were
just for example,
thinking...
I mean, I'm really just plucking that randomly.
Oh, yeah.
No
you're just... Ouch. Ouch. Shoulder blades hurt, knife in back. Stupid, though. And yes, let's just drive it home. Don't go all in.
Just say I'm just ignoring you now. Persic, if you could just turn
I'll
down
just keep
the
muttering.
bad beat. If you could just press the bad beat mic off button.
You know what, even that might be okay, but it wasn't.
No, it
was a stupid beat.
No.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Shutting up now.
Yeah. Anyway, let's leave that behind, as all good players must.
Yeah, stop bringing it up.
Okay. The Magic Shep still likes to play. His 6 is he limped in with. The Jack has hit on the flop. Death Jack probably a little bit curious as to where he is because he made a bet and the Magic Shep continued to call. When you don't hit that kind of hand on the flop, give it up, I guess. Really, pretty simple. You've got a small medium pair. You want to limp in, and they let you limp in. Fab and groovy. 7.5 to 1. You're going to turn that into a set 3 of a kind. But when it doesn't happen, shrug. You had a go, especially here. You've got best part 3,000 in chips. It's not going to cost you a lot. If you get
lucky, or I don't like the word lucky, if you enjoy the probabilities available to you in maths, good stuff, you could well get paid off here. And if you don't get out of it, but certainly if you don't hit the flop, there's plenty of scary overcards and somebody bets at you, don't call going, just one more card. Just have a look at my card. Because if it's a 6, what if it's a 6? It'll be good. Because you could do that forever.
And in the long run, it's going to cost you more than it's going to win you.
Bingo, bango, bongo.
Thank you very much.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, it's waving the Kermit arms.
Yeah. What is it with the Kermit arms? 640 with ace 4 on the magic ship. Death Jack's going to go or some sort of noise like that, I would imagine. I actually did play in a live game with a guy had the best tell ever. When he sat to my left, he didn't look to me like he had a huge amount of live experience. And even more so because when he looked at his cards, he'd go, ooh. or he'd go, And a couple of times I quite cruel. It was my turn to act, but I deliberately, let's just, just look at that nice little juicy hand. I was quite cruel because when it was my turn to act, I was deliberately taking too long, knowing that he was a bit panicky that actually it was his turn to act. So he would look at his cards and go, oh. And there were a couple of times where I had one, I can't remember, one hand I do remember I had pocket 2s. And I was just thinking, I gotta see if I can limp in. Just like we watched our friend down there, the magic ship with his 6s, I thought, see if I can limp in this and get lucky, 7.5 to 1, etc., etc. And I thought, oh, hang on a minute, before I limp in and get re-raised by somebody, and this guy was the button, I thought, just wait a minute, and he went, oh. So I folded, and sure enough, he raised.
Yeah.
And it was like, do you know what, mate? You might want to take care of that. It could be a problem.
Bad for him.
Oh, now that's nice for death. Here we are, we've just talked about this, a small pocket pair turning into a... Checked it, now bet death, because that's why Aunt Sally has checked to you, and now she's going to come over the top of you, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Brave of Aunt Sally to check there at the end, hoping for a bluff. It's actually worked against her. She'd be lucky if she just calls this, but that would seem rather pointless to me. Now Death Jack's going to come back over the top of that. Don't go all in, Death Jack, for God's sake. Just, thank you. That's good enough.
Oh, boy.
Aunt Sally, I'm afraid that was hook, line and sinker. It was unlucky that he hit the 5 on the turn.
Yeah.
I think you make that 2 pair, you can't let anybody get lucky there, which he did. Sadly, Aunt Sally bubbles. These guys, we've said it before, single table tournament, 50%, 30%, 20% to first, second and third, respectively.
Respect. Yeah. Respect indeed. Down
Ace
3.
or a 6, ace or a 6, ace or a 6. Who wants it? I always thought the draw's strong enough. Good on you, Squire.
Ah, yes.
You gotta love those draws.
Gotta love those draws. There we go. 8-9, Johan Heron. On the button.
Gonna make a move? Gonna try and steal? Well, we can see that the hands he's up against are also fairly raggedy, but...
Yeah. Tough to make that move, though, when you don't know. You don't get to see the cards.
Yeah, and I've always thought it would be so much better if you could.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought your superpower would have been, though, to see... Would it be to see all the other players' cards?
No, no.
You were the see the flop person.
I want to see the flop. Well, no, I want to see the whole board. I mean, that's...
Yeah. Gotcha.
Because then I'm going to get involved in all sorts of junky hands where I know that the miracle cards are going to actually give me things. That was my point, is to see that other people have cards. I've got kings and I see someone else has got aces.
Yeah.
But that's handy, but to see I've got kings and see that the board's going to have a king on it, or see that the board's going to have an ace on it,
yeah.
I'm not going to like my kings as much if I see aces on the board. Wow.
Talking about aces and kings, look at that. Oh, and the 5 as well.
Johan, wow, full house, aces for 5s.
Oh.
And Johan, I mean, if he didn't believe the ace, he doesn't believe the ace now, but he
You just can't make that. That's a risky move. Wow, what a hand. Yeah, what a hand.
Earl, queens, 10, 7, 2. Well, there's not much there. Everyone's sort of gone into... I think everyone's just suddenly appreciated how many chips they have compared to the blinds, because Death Jack,
I'd be amazed if he gets involved in hardly anything right now. Because Johan is about to get quite desperate. Old gets himself another pair of queens. Siegfried and Roy. So 10 king.
Ooh, and ace jack.
Try to limp in. Johan, of course, is all in, and death jack. Well, it's only a tenth of his stack.
And what is
which
he
is
playing?
a different situation.
Entirely.
But he's actually hit.
Oh, look at that.
And that's the difference there is obviously he there is in a position to call and cover Johan. He's got the added equity of knocking Johan down and moving up a place. So that's understandable.
Look at that, death jack.
Just trying to rub it in. Just trying to rub it in.
Trying to rub it in. In fact, someone else actually, they weren't rubbing it in, they were commiserating very quickly. Stop me if something interesting happens. Dimna, aka Iceland, has sent in an email and says, "Hi guys, watching your tourney tonight, Kara, felt I had to contact you, not to feel too bad about King 10. I was playing in a multi-table tourney today and raised on the big blind with ace jack of clubs. I was re-raised all in by the chip leader who had raised every pot for the previous 5-6 hands, and I called him. He had King 10. So some people do it. He also says that in another multi-table I raised the big blind times 5 with ace-ace and was called by, guess what, King 10, who hit the straight. See? And it does happen. We just saw it happen again.
Well, just to interrupt you here, Death Jack playing 6-9 and he's found himself a rather pleasant flush, and he's found himself also a player who's prepared to go against him. And that, my friends, is what you call first and second place. Well done, Earl.
There we go.
Bit of money for you, mate.
And there we go. There we go. Not laughing at the play, laughing at the silly voices in my head.
Yes, I've got those as well.
Yeah.
They tell me to do strange things.
It's late at night. So there you go. And we were talking about Dimna's email, and she does finish it off by saying, because she had 2, and these really were bad beats, though. I mean, mine was a stupid beat. Hers was, they were bad beats.
Is stupid beat some new term that I've not heard before?
I'm coining it.
I know, like, you know, I had my aces cracked, it was a real bad beat. I had a real stupid beat the other day. I went all in with King 10.
I hate you. I hate you. Dimna, I like. She says, finishing off, I'm a tight, aggressive player. She is, obviously not me. And once described by a player on my table as merciless when I get a hand. But I'm so frustrated at the moment. Regards, Dimna, a.k.a. Iceland. Thank you. I appreciate the commiseration with my pain. Although yours, again, bad beats, mine, stupid beat. There you go. Right, I believe you had one from Jag.
Jag? No, I've done that.
Did we do that?
Yeah.
See, I'm still just absolutely, I'm just out of it.
Steaming.
Steaming, I'm on tilt, no more poker for me, but a little bit of poker to watch, a bit of multi-table tournament action. Let's take a look.
See the end of that. You're crazy. St. Elmo. Oh my God, we've frozen it as St. Elmo goes out in 5th place. 10 Jack. It's not even 10 King, for God's sake. What is he thinking?
In a
Queens for chilling.
Blaze of glory. St. Elmo's fire.
Stupid beat.
Get what I did there?
I wasn't listening.
No, you so weren't listening.
I was trying to do the poker thing.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. So was I. St. Elmo's fire, blaze of glory. Oh, whatever.
No, it was very, very good.
Shut up. Fine, do your poker thing.
Oh, sulking.
I am sulking now. Look at that. King 5 against Jack Ace against Jack 4 against 3-5. See, this commentating malarkey, it's easy.
And do you know what? I've just had inside information that apparently, you know, Raoul.
Yes.
It isn't. It's Raw Owl.
Is it? Raw Owl?
According to the forums, it's Raw Owl. Even though it looks like Raoul, UK to me.
Raoul.
A bit of capital letters there would have helped us out, fella.
Yeah.
Raw Owl.
That sounds gross.
Raw Owl. That sounds like a dish that only the, I don't know, deepest, darkest owl territories of Africa would serve.
No kidding. I find that quite offensive, actually. My mother's spirit guide is an owl.
Okay, just stop there immediately.
Okay.
Because now you sound like a mental.
All right. Well, you know, it's a native...
Just stop it.
Okay.
Raw Owl. Raúl. See? So I love a bit of the Mexican bandito. We had El Puercos, Diablo, now Raúl. To me, my brother Raúl with your ace-9. Well, he's going to get some action here because Raw Owl has fallen into little bully. who's got also the 9. Well, he's all in. I mean, you're all in, mate. Don't you want to get paid off? 24 grand. Is he going to call 24 grand?
No.
He might do, actually. He's got a 9, but I don't think... Oh, he's called it. He's mental. Oh, little bully.
What are you doing? What are you thinking? Oh.
Why would Raw Owl go all in for 24? Does it look like he's overbetting it? What if he isn't? Do you want to lose all of your chips?
No.
I'm sorry, but that's just... You don't need to do that, I don't think. If he's bullying you, fine, let him bully you. You've still got loads of chips. What if you're wrong?
What if?
Ego.
Yes.
Could be wrong.
The bane
See
of
that?
the
See how
poker
immediately attacks on it, immediately back out. Yeah, I don't know. Could have been the right thing to do.
If you feel really strongly about it, I'm sure it will.
I mean, the thing is, we've had the beauty of actually seeing quite a lot of these guys tonight, and I just don't know why Little Bully does that, because he has been a little bully. He's had the chips, he's shuffled them around, he's made some moves with cards, he's made moves without cards. I really just can't think of any motivation there other than not believing you. And now Raw Owl, he's actually got the straight draw, but he decides that's not bad, not good enough to continue investing in.
Nope.
He's crazy bonkers.
Crazy bonkers.
A real bunch of nothing hands there, and quite rightly just give it all up.
Yeah.
Raoul.
Raoul.
Chillin, who is our second chip on the table right now, just having watched Little Bully be kind enough to give Raw Owl, I was about to swear, a shed load of chips.
A shed load, even. Shed loads.
9s versus 3s. It truly is bears and sailors wrestling.
Oh yes, the battle of the titans. Kind of. What? You know what? The fact that there's UK in his name could have maybe been a tip-off that Raw Owl wasn't Mexican.
Well, I must admit, I wasn't serious about the...
I thought it was good.
Yeah. Chilling, just going to try and limp him. We're at 800, 1600 now, and we are on the bubble. Oh no, tell a lie, what am I talking about on the bubble? Well, actually, do you know what? I'm going to say we're on the bubble because for me, in the multi-tables, the top 3 is where the money becomes like ka-ching.
Yeah.
And I think if you're in a $10 tournament, you want to be at least getting 100 plus back.
Right, yeah.
And in fact, third place is 125. Fourth place is $95, and it sounds a bit harsh because, to be honest, the fact that you've got through 100 people and you've cashed in, you really have no complaints. But to play through and I've made the money. Yeah, you got $15 in 10th place. You know, I'm not going to poo-poo it because profit's profit.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, if you're going to put this much time into one game, that is the double-edged blade sword stick thing of multi-tables.
It's the sharp thing.
A lot of time, a lot of play, a lot of patience, yada, 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 yada. But you've got to get through a lot of people to actually get any money that makes that worth doing. The good news is, to win one of these finances you for a lot more of these.
Yeah, that certainly does.
And that's how you've got to treat it. Again, it's bankroll, isn't it? You know, it depends whether you're building a bankroll or you're looking for profit. If you're going to win this and cash out $289, live off that, and then use the other $10.01.
Yes, living the high life in Mexico.
Well, all these Mexican players that we've suddenly invented, you know, El Porco and his brother Raúl.
Or the bandidos.
Or Le Dos Ronis. You know, then...
Confused.
Oh, yeah.
King Queen. Look at that.
Such a good job no one's listening, isn't it?
I know, I tell you.
If anyone could see us now.
Seriously.
6 is on the button with only 2 overcards. But he just has a tickle. He asks the question. A jack would be very nice for chilling. To be honest, so would a king or a queen. A Raoul, sorry mate, I was still going to call you Raw Owl.
Raw Owl. Yeah, he says not to ask why with the name. But I am curious, why Raw Owl? Did you eat it once?
No, don't ask. He said, don't ask.
Okay, I know. I'm not asking him. I'm just asking generally.
This is great. We've got live, real-time answers from our viewers on the forum.
I love that. I love our viewers, and I love the forum.
Oh, you've not read the thread about me.
Or me.
7/8 suited, it's for les dos ronis. Makes it big enough to get rid of chilling. It's a pretty juicy point right now, because 816, still plenty of play, as we say. No one's kind of, thinking.
No panicking.
Thinking for raw Al.
No need to panic, everyone. Calm down. Take it easy.
Don't panic, Mr. Mandarin.
Take a breath and breathe.
So you've been in England for 8 years now. Are you familiar with Dad's Army?
I am.
Good. Just
Not
checking.
very, very familiar, but I know what you mean, yes.
That's good enough for me. Well, everyone's got a bit of this.
Oh, King 10
Shilling's
again. It's like it mocks me.
He's got the ace and he's got the 9 on the flush.
Yeah.
Raoul has the best flush draw, but the worst pair. A queen would be nice for everybody. But no, it ends there. That's interesting. That's an interesting board against an interesting pair of hands. And you have to stare at it for a while to make sure you know exactly where you are.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the transition from Texas to Omaha. You just have to spend a lot of time staring at it, trying to work out where you are. And that's what boards like that are. Who's winning but has the stronger draws?
Ooh, pair of aces, raw
19 Jack Queen, though, an up and down straighty, which would go to the ace if the kings come down, or the 8 would complete the bottom end. Ace King is certainly not going to just flat call that. Little bully might like the draw. We've seen him go crazy. It's another queen. It's a...
2 pair.
Yeah, sadly the queen does nothing for little bully. He really wants to let go of this. Look, you've still got 10 times the big blind if you let this go. It's a big pot, 62. But right now, do you think you can win, and what cards do you need to see to win?
Yeah.
You know, you've got to appreciate, and, you know, again, I mentioned it with your game, when you look at where you are and you look at what you need to see.
Yeah.
So I always say to people, like, ask yourself, what cards do I need to see to be happy? When you're playing 9-5, somebody sent in an email, said, Matt, do you like to play King 8? Like, as long as the flop is King, King 8, or 8, but that's the thing is, what cards are you going to play some of these? King 5, what do I want to see? I almost want to make the 5. I want to pair up with the 5, and then I've got a pair on the board with a good kick. Hitting the king if someone's raised against me, you know, there's...
Where are you? Where do you stand with that?
I'm over here.
Well, you're not standing, you're sitting.
It's because my legs
Boom, boom.
What was that?
That was me getting a strike. I'm better at bowling than I am at poker.
Was that your bowling action? That looked like you were Spider-Man going whip. That didn't, if you bowl like that, I am wearing a crash helmet next time I'm in the bowling area.
I didn't have room for the range of motion.
It's scary. 3s for bully. I sense bully getting a bit tired.
Yeah, you can sense him with your spidey senses, getting a bit tired, huh? Well, they have been playing they've been playing a very long time.
Look, I told you. What did I say?
He's getting tired.
He's got to that point where he's gone, I can't believe... He's probably steaming a little from the previous balls up. And it's like, I had so many chips and now I've thrown them away. Give him a diamond.
Oh,
8.
no.
He was happy right until that last bit. Unlucky little bully, but you still got $95. You came fourth. Congratulations to you. You ran that table, my friend. You ruled that table. Really, really curious. I don't know if we've still got time, but if you're still on, talk us through that hand, because that was the hand of the tournament for you as far as I could see. You won lots of little pots, and that's what a lot of the big tournament players say is, it's not the biggies, it's winning lots of little pots.
Yes.
Winning lots of little pots. You don't want to get into lots of big pots because those are dangerous.
Yeah.
If you win them, huzzah, but if you get involved in lots of little pots, when you don't win, fine. You live to fight another day. The big pots are beautiful, but those are the ones that are also going to see you hat coat pant socks.
Oh, yes.
HCPS.
HCPS.
That's the new...
Hats, coats, pants, socks.
An HCPS.
And bye-bye, HCPS. No, I agree. And in fact, a lot of what I've been reading today, different online articles and different poker magazines, said the exact same thing. What you want to do...
Coat pants socks?
Yes, exactly.
Gosh, I didn't expect anybody else to have thought that deep level.
All the kids are saying it now. on the playground. Yeah.
That is so whack.
Isn't it whack? It ain't. Anyways, no, what they were saying is that you want to win lots of uncontested small pots.
Yeah.
Then you want to build your chip stack. That's exactly what you want. Build your chip stack, win those uncontested.
Well, the Dos Ronese,
Oh.
he didn't hit any part of that, and the ace came down in the flop to ruin his life. But he is in the top 3, which is where I would like to be.
Yes, and so would I.
The two
and that
Ronnie.
doesn't rhyme.
So $125 for you, my tiny chucklesome chum. Now we have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of chips on the table.
Don't we though?
Heads up, here we are finally.
Oh.
A nation might have ignored you, but these two guys haven't. Raoul, Raw Al, and Chilling UK, having it with the kids. They are here, and let's hope they give us some decent heads up to watch here, because they have chips. The blinds are great as far as they're enough to promote some play, but letting go of a blind is not going to push anybody into some silly billy action.
No, certainly not.
Ace-7 heads up. In the small blind, worth making a move. Doubles the blind. That's how it goes. And you're probably going to see a lot of this.
Yeah? Okay.
Somebody has a little tickle. Somebody goes, yeah, I don't think so. Jack-9 has a little tickle. That's the thing, is you can't really get into calling too much.
Dangerous.
Is that you need to kind of know where you are. Well, hello, who'd have thought that? And neither of these will believe the other doesn't have at least one spade.
No. Oh, and they don't even need it.
And now is anybody going to bet
highest?
to say, this is, see, I'm a horrible tease on the chat box. When something like that happens, I sort of type in something like, ooh, who's got the biggest there? To imply that I've got one and I want to know if you've got, and you can quite often scare people off, because the chances of those 5 coming down, I have no idea what it is. But it's
a lot.
Phenomenal.
Yes, phenomenal.
But the interesting, to get 5 down on the board and not to have a single one in the 4 that are out in the whole cards.
Yeah.
Is something that you could type into an odds calculator somewhere and find out.
Yeah.
And it would be very interesting as far as reading numbers out on TV goes.
Oh, sorry,
exactly.
Yawning now.
Pocket 6s, aces and 10s on the board, but no, says Raw Al. I don't care. Look, they're practically equal on chips, so somebody's going to have to get jiggy with it.
9-10 suited against A7 suited.
9-10 might call this. It has possibilities. They've still got chips to play with. And Raw Al does hit a part of that as far as the diamonds go.
Yeah.
Might still feel compelled to chase this, because Chilling certainly hasn't got anything of it. The ace is actually good, but will Raw believe so? 17.5 in the pot. 7.5 grand, should I say? And the bet makes it his. 85-64. Hut, hut, hut.
Was that your American football thing?
You're very easy to make laugh at this time of night, aren't you?
I know. It really doesn't take much.
Pair of 5s, just flat calls it. Doesn't particularly work well for him. He's actually got the best of the draws on the flush, but probably won't know that. 4,000. Just giving him 2-1. No thanks. Gonna wait until they both fancy it. 5-10 is not a hand to fancy it with. Not even going to bother flat calling to limp. Totally understandable.
Absolutely.
And again, see, this is, when we were talking earlier on about the different stages of the heads up and the chips, because of how low the blinds are compared to your chip stack, to even try and flat call in there with something like a 5-10, it's almost like the worst thing that can happen to you is that you hit a part of it. Because then you start playing a really mediocre hand without really knowing anything about your opponent. And if your opponent has done one of those sneaky things like Max Power did to you, where they do kind of let you in for cheap, because they know that they're going to beat you up later on. Chilling has hit apart this, and Raw Out is kind of luring. He won't be happy to see yet another spade, because that's exactly the sort of thing Chilling could be chasing.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's really going to, there's Raw Out. He's got the best of it. He's got 2 pair, kings and queens, massive heads up. But no more betting is going to happen there, just because it's simply so scary.
Yeah, too frightening, that one.
Chilling could have missed a trick there, not to bet. But how does he know? But you see here already the chips are moving over.
You see the dilemma. See the dilemma. I was reading today in my research, and it said that heads up, really, the only time you should be folding is when you are the small blind, or when you're second to act. and you have low mismatched cards, and that you've already been successful all in for a few hands in a row, it's a good idea to fold to make it look like your all-ins previously were actually quite strong hands.
Legit.
Yeah.
Well, it is all about, it's all about building up momentum.
Yeah.
And it constantly moves, and it's actually, I find it's more apparent in live games.
Mm-hmm.
You feel this momentum build up, and you make a move and it pays off, and you get a hand, so you make another move and you get paid off, and then you don't have a hand, but you keep going and you get paid off, and you can always feel the other player kind of shrinking.
Right.
But then they have a hand, you make the move, they make the move back, you have to back down, and then they come back, and there's this constant battle of strength going backwards and forwards, very much like in, actually it's the game you didn't see, when we watched one of the first heads-up tournaments with Alan Thompson.
And
it wasn't Snaky.
desktop.
Was it Snaky? I can't remember, sorry. I forget your name. It might have been Snaky.
I think it was.
It's the guy that actually texted us in. But that game was very much like that. They were taking it in turns to bully around. Ace King takes it down.
Wow.
We have a winner.
We have a winner.
So top prize for Raw Al, our forum friend, $300 auras.
Wow.
$200 for chilling. Which, to be honest, for a night's work, for a $10 entry,
not bad.
It's no 10 king, is it? It's not bad.
Oh, stop it with the 10 king. Seriously. I'm going to get
Breathe it in, Royale. Well done.
physically violent here in a moment.
Well, rather than just mentally violent.
Yeah, I'm sending you all kinds of mental violence at the moment. Anyways, well done, Raw Owl. And yeah, thanks very much for posting as well to let us know that we did get your name wrong, or rather, Matt got your name wrong. And I just went along with it. Right, let's get to the emails. We've got one here from Stanters. Now, Stanters says, hi, Karen, Matt.
Take your time with this, all right? There's a lot of content, yeah? And it's good content.
Good content. Are you saying that our other emails have not been good content?
But this is kind of what you were looking for at the top of the program. You wanted somebody to, like, give you a bit of stuff, and this is good juice here. We like this one.
No, that's absolutely true. In fact, I've already copied it and then emailed the whole thing to myself because I think it is quite good, and I'm going to take it home and read it and study it wisely.
High praise indeed. Pens at the ready.
Oh, stop it. Right. Hi, Karen, Matt. Stanter's calling. A very quick heads-up suggestion. It says you are likely to either face an ABC player or an overly aggressive player, as a rule. Passive players are a rarity these days and easy to beat, so I won't include them. And that is true. As more and more heads-up tournaments are coming online and in live games, apparently more people know how to play heads-up. So these passive players are a rarity. For Mr. ABC, you want to be the one controlling the pots as much as possible. Put the decision his way as much as you can without compromising your stack too much. Be aware of any traps that he may lay, i.e. slow playing a straight or trips, and watch out for sneaky minimum raises. That usually means that you are beat. Very good point, and that's something I'm going to remember. Mr. ABC will play to pot odds generally. Use that to your advantage. Make it tough for him to call with a draw. I would usually play a little more aggressively than usual against him and try to wear him down without going overboard. He will then have to start thinking about making moves himself, and this is where you can lie in wait and take him once he becomes pot committed.
Can I just interrupt you there?
Absolutely.
There's one particularly good phrase in that I like, which is saying about the fact about wearing him down. And that's really important because the aggressiveness is great and the whole momentum, but that's when you talk about really, when I said a minute ago about, you see the other player shrinking, is that you do start to wear them down, because if you're just consistently pounding into them, it gets to the point where they can't believe you keep getting a hand, but they don't want to risk the chips. And you see this real mental process of being worn down, where you can then get them to make mistakes, where you do have a hand and they make some bad timing because they are feeling a bit kind of persecuted and you are wearing them down. So it's a real good point, and it's not necessarily a phrase we hear a lot, but that's really your objective, is to wear your opponent down so that they're getting cheesed off with being bullied, they're losing their chips, they start to get a bit desperate, and then they kind of go all in, or they make some kind of crazy move. But it just seemed worth stopping there, because that's a real key point. That's your objective. Your heads up, it's one-on-one, just going to keep banging, wear you down, until you make a mistake or you get sick of me bullying you around, because the last thing you want is to feel that coming back at you. It's the hideous feeling in heads up. Sorry for interrupting, please continue.
That's okay. In fact, I was just going to say, is that then where you would fold if you did have these badly mismatched cards, low cards, you've been going all in and winning and taking it down for like 5 or 6 hands in a row, then you fold one and it sort of reinforces your strong table image?
Yes, well, obviously you're looking for credibility, so you you know, and he knows that there's no way that you're getting all these hands, and that yes, you're going to be taking the mickey at some point. But that's the good point, is at some point you need to show that you are still valuing your cards. So it's almost like, rather than wait for him to hit a hand and come back at you and slow you down, you can slow yourself down. So you're pounding away, you've got a hand, you don't have a hand, but you're making the moves. Then you let something go, and it just makes it look to him like, oh God, this guy actually still is making decisions about the hand he plays. Now I really don't know if he's just like seeing how long he can kind of raise against me, like, you know, unrelenting aggression. So you are trying to just build this image that I am totally in control, I am running this game, I'm wearing you down. Oh no, don't like that, throw it away, next hand, push you again, push you again, push you again. Because then he doesn't know if you're just randomly going all in without even caring about your cards.
Yeah.
And it's a nice little trick,
I like it, that's one I'm going to use. Okay, the second type of person, in Heads Up, he says, Little Miss Maniac requires a simpler plan in my view. One hand is all it takes to cripple her, so be patient, play a few pots, and look for that killer blow. She'll be more likely to pay you off with her 2-pair against your straight, for example, than Mr. ABC would. If you have the nuts on a flop, a small bet will often be re-raised, and this is where their weakness lies, and exactly what you yourself should avoid against Mr. ABC. Get busy versus Mr. ABC, but don't overcommit and lie in wait like a tiger. I like that. For a Little Miss Maniac to blunder into your nuts. That's my top tip for the day. By the way, Matt, are my sunglasses on the way? He said. Ah, this is quite funny. If not, may I send some more jokes in? And you wouldn't want that. No, that's true. Let's not have the jokes.
I really do not want that. No, we actually need, I think we asked for this the other night. This was on a show with Barry, and he won with the best joke. I'm not even going to talk about it.
No, not going to talk about it.
We need your details, Stantas. I think we asked this on the night, but could you just get back in touch and give us all of your details, and we will get these sunglasses off to you, and you can wear them with pride. And thank you very much for this email. This is very good. Just going to go back to one of the points made, which was talking about Miss Maniac, and that's, again, absolutely perfect, spot-on stuff. With our Mr. ABC, something, I think, is that one of your legs has just dropped off.
The wooden
They're only
one's gone.
screw-in.
Sorry, yes, go on.
Is absolutely perfect. Yes, you're absolutely right. With Miss Maniac, the other thing about, the only problem with Miss Maniac theory that you have there is that the heads-up situations, we're either talking about the end of the multi-table like we see there, where there are lots of chips in play and the blinds are relatively low. That's where that theory will work. Miss Maniac, fine. She wants to run over the table. You just give it away. You say, I'm just happy to do this. This is not a problem. You're not wearing me down. I know exactly what you're doing. Any minute now, you're going to run into a monster and it is going to devastate you, and I'm going to take all your chips off you. All those chips you took in dribs and drabs, I'm going to go vomp. The only problem is, if it's like the end of our single table tournaments, you've only got about 6 hands before those chips are gone. The same with those heads-up games. There's not that much play. So that theory against Miss Maniac only works when you know you've got the time and the luxury to wait for your hand. If you don't have that, you're actually just going to have to play your own game. Fine, you want to come with me? I'm just going to re-raise you, because your timing might be off, but when you feel you've got a hand that's worth making, it's almost a semi-bluff. It's not like I really want to be going all in with this, but there's no way I'm going to let you do this to me all night long. You could get unlucky with your timing, but that's the only thing you can do if you don't have the time and the chips. Other than that, I think there's a superbly sound device, especially the stuff about your general player and how you want to wear him down and keep bashing away. So good stuff. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Stanters. In fact, you might want to post that on the forum yourself, because I think that's great advice, and I think a lot of our viewers would like to have a chance to kind of peruse that at their leisure, or maybe take some notes. I'm definitely going to do that. Okay, we have a couple more emails for you. This one is from Michael. Now, Michael says, evening all. Hi, Heads Up is as much a part of poker as the cards. So I was wondering if it would be possible to air once a month or so, presenters go heads up, pro versus pro. You know what, that's kind of a nice idea. I like that. Get a couple of the commentators in pro versus pro on a pro night. He says, I would rate myself as not bad at heads-up play, but I would like to become better. You never stop learning in poker, and I think it'd be a good addition to the show, which is already wonderful. Thanks very much.
Who knows? We're forever trying out these new theories, new ideas, new features on the show. We will put it to the producers, and we will keep you posted.
Yes, we will. And one last email very quickly from Jamie King Jumbo. Says, hi, Matt and Kara. Yesterday, Dr. Tom was asked about odds and whether you should use them differently in cash games and tournaments. He said, basically, odds are odds, and you should play them similarly, whereas earlier tonight, Matt made the point that if you make a mistake in a tourney, it may be the end of you. Ah, yes, you were definitely watching. Personally, I agree with Matt, and early in a tourney would not risk my chips on a 60-40 bet, for instance. Whereas in a cash game, I might. Is this right? Am I stupid? And thanks for the great show. Well, you're not stupid. That is, I believe, what you said.
No, I'm totally in agreement with that. I just think that there's, as well as the odds mathematically about profit and what you should chase, there is in the tournament that added equity of being knocked out of the tournament. Or in fact, if you're playing against somebody, you can use that equity yourself to force them off hands. The odds don't change, it's just the reward. And as you rightly say, in a cash game, I am more than happy to chase stuff where I know the odds are so-so, because if I lose, I reload, next time I win it. In a tournament, it's more scary because you can face going out. I'm not going to argue with Tom, odds are odds, they never change, but I think you've got to trust your gut a bit more when it comes to the tournaments because there's more at stake. Trust your instincts as well as the maths.
That's a good way to end it, and we are going to end it. Tune in again tomorrow night for more poker here on Poker Night Live. That's it from both of us.
Good night.